Can't get my hair working on me. Okay, I think we should be going now. I'm just double checking to make sure that everything is looking good. Yeah, looks like we're good. Yep, okay, we are definitely live. Good. Excellent. Let's see here, Mr. Bra. Hi, Mr. Bra, how you doing? Good to see you. Okay, just making sure, getting everything good. So 7:59 p.m. Eastern Time, we have another live stream going on. We have a very important one in Illinois. Lots of really cool Senate race or like races up, one being the Senate race. We have a very competitive House race underway as well, the Kat Abughazaleh race. That one's up. I also have the Republican governor primary up, the Republican U.S. Senate primary up as well. And then on this one, I'll be using to look up the other races we want to look up throughout the night as well. So I have those ready as well. Good. How are you? Good. Thank you. Doing good. Got everything set up for tonight. So hopefully everything goes a little more smooth. Trying to do smoother and smoother each time. We're using Decision Desk HQ tonight for the election results. Had some issues with New York Times last time, but hopefully this should work out pretty good for tonight. And yeah, just waiting for the results to come in. Hopefully it should be a good night. Hopefully Illinois doesn't take too long to get the results in, but we'll see obviously as the results come in. I will say just to start the stream out that I did, I think it was 5 hours and like 30 minutes last time. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do as long as that again. That was definitely a lot. Probably be right now. My target is around 11 p.m. About 3 hours for the stream, get most of the results in, and then probably call it there. Is where I'm currently looking at this time. But overall, just waiting for the results to come in, and yeah. So overall, doing good, doing good. It's also now 8:01 p.m. So the polls in Illinois are officially closed. Based on how the past few streams have gone, it's usually taken around like 10 minutes or so for the first results to start coming in. And I'll be keeping an eye on the election results page as well, just as we wait for these numbers to come in. Wonder if this must be a lot of traffic because it seems it's loading kind of slow. But yeah, just wait. Just waiting for results to start coming in. And if everyone that's joining the live stream now will see in the chat, I posted two things. I posted a poll of who you think is going to win the Democratic Senate primary that you can vote on. Feel free to vote on that one. I also posted a Q&A feature as well for who do you think is going to win the Illinois 9th Congressional District primary as well. So if you want to reply to that, you can if you want to. Obviously, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it's there for you if you would like. And yeah, so this should be interesting. You know, this is a very exciting primary, especially the Senate race between Raja Krishnamoorthi, Juliana Stratton, and Robin Kelly. The polls in this race in the final few days have been very close. We can actually look at this. This is part of the reason I'm using a Decision Desk for this live stream, because you can see the track of the polls here on the same page. And the polls in the last few days and few weeks have gotten very, very close. We're back around February 23rd, Krishnamurthy was up 35.4 to 19.8. And now heading into the final day, into election day, Krishnamurthy's leading 33% to Stratton's 31.2. Robin Kelly, though she is in a very distant third place, she's also polling right now at around 14.3%. So she is doing it, certainly playing spoiler in this race. The difference between this one and the Texas live stream we did a few weeks ago is that no candidate has to break 50% in Illinois to win. It's just whoever gets the most votes wins. So Robin Kelly is certainly playing spoiler in third place here, but whether that benefits Krishnamoorthi or Stratton, we'll have to wait and see throughout the night. And that's pretty much where things stand on the polling aspect. On the political market aspect right now, honestly, very close heading into today. We saw some very close numbers, and we still have pretty close numbers as well, with Krishnamoorthi right around 67 and Stratton around 35 on Kalshi. In terms of the results, still waiting for the first results to come in on the Senate side, but that's where things are at this current point in time. A very close race. Raja Krishnamoorthi is currently the narrow favorite to win in the Senate race, but this is certainly very, very close, and we'll have to wait and see how all of that goes once the votes come in. In terms of what I'm watching for in Illinois, it goes without saying, but the city of Chicago, Cook County. This is one of the largest areas we're waiting to see tonight in terms of votes. An estimated 403,820 votes out of Chicago, 343,825 out of Cook. So these are very big areas, and these are very big areas that is likely going to decide which candidate ends up winning, just due to the pure amount of people here. Just to show you overall, like total registered voters is roughly 1.8 million in Chicago and 1.794 in Cook County. The next one is DuPage County, which is only about 700,000. So Chicago and Cook County play a massive role in how this race is going to go, and we're waiting to see overall how the votes come in, especially in those areas, because the amount of people there just will really make the difference. In terms of vote reported, still 0, so nothing yet. But once we do have that come in, we'll start talking about it. This is on the Senate side. On the House side of things, the Illinois U.S. House 9th District race in particular is one that I'm watching due to how competitive I'm expecting this to be. The candidates, the main three, are Kat Abughazaleh, Daniel Biss, and Laura Fine, mainly being a two-way race between Kat Abughazaleh and Daniel Biss. Now, on this one, the markets are actually showing more of an advantage for Daniel Biss than Kat Abughazaleh, which is interesting because in the last few days, her numbers seem to surge a little bit, where just around March 15th, we saw that Biss had 60.5, Kat Abughazaleh had 37. Now, today, an election day, there may be some early vote numbers that may support this because Daniel Biss is now skyrocketed up to 80% or so to win, and Kat Abughazaleh is down to about 24. On the early voting side, we can actually look at this here. It says roughly in Chicago, there's been roughly 43,850 requests and returns. There's been roughly about 21,475 in terms of early. We can also look at Lake County. There's been 986. In McHenry, there's been 1,418. So obviously, like we were talking about before with Chicago and the amount of people living there, Chicago playing a very important role in this district as well as one of the key aspects of this. And this is going to be very important to watch for as the results come in. So this race is very close. I'm certainly keeping an eye on this one. In terms of the general election, there's not really too much to talk about here. This is a very safe, reliable Democratic district. We can even look at the House map from 2024, where I believe this district, it's a little hard to get a grip on it here, but it was roughly about 36.8% win for the Democratic incumbent that is retiring. So it's a very safe blue district. And while we're here, we'll look at the Senate race as well. In 2022, Tammy Duckworth won by 15.3. In 2020, Dick Durbin, whose seat is now retiring, he won by 16.1%. So in terms of the general election, Illinois is a very reliable blue state. So we're probably not going to see much competitiveness on the Republican or Democratic side. In the general, the Democrats are going to win Illinois and going to win the House race as well. But the Democratic primaries certainly are very competitive for both Senate and House. And there are some other races I'll be looking at throughout the night as well. But we did just get our first vote share in out of the state of Illinois, and it's coming for Juliana Stratton of 41.08, Raja Krishnamoorthi 37.75. It's come out of St. Clair County, roughly about 16% of the vote or so in, and Stratton has a narrow lead in this area. So that's roughly about 18.13% of the county. Overall, about 193 registered votes in this county for today's purposes for the primary, roughly about 28,000 votes or so still remaining, and 6,268 votes are now accounted for in that county. Where things stand right now, that really didn't have too much of an impact in terms of the overall results once everything is in. As we can see here, roughly 0.46% of the total statewide expected estimated percent vote is now in Illinois. So certainly we have a long ways to go, but our first official vote drop of the night is in right around 8:08 p.m. Eastern Time. So yeah, so now we're just waiting for more results to come in, but this is certainly interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. In terms of the primary, it's hard to kind of get a grasp on this because competitive primaries and general elections are very different. Where St. Clair, Stratton's leading over Krishnamoorthi by about 4 points. You can look at the general election, say for 2024. St. Clair County was a county that voted for Kamala Harris by 7.8% over Donald Trump. So in terms of the relationship with the general election and the primary, I mean, not really too much to take away from here other than a likely Democratic county is voting Democratic in the primary, so duh. But this is where things are currently standing right now on the Senate side. The House side, still nothing yet, as we have not gotten any votes out of the Chicago area. For governor, Darren Bailey, the Republican, is leading in St. Clair County around similar percentages, actually a little bit more of the percentages are now in here. 22.32% of the vote in St. Clair County, and Bailey's up by about 22.7% there. So coming in strongly for Bailey on the governor's side. On the Republican side, the Republican Don Tracy is leading here 42.99% over his Republican opponents. No really surprise here. He's going to be the Republican nominee for Senate. All the markets have him winning by a lot. Darren Bailey also very likely to be the Republican nominee. He's leading by 99 points on that one. I'll leave it on the Senate one for now. As we get more votes, I want to have it up so we can get the updated numbers as they come in. So that's the latest right now, 8:10 p.m. Starting to get some results in. If you have any questions or comments or anything, you can leave it in the chat. I do have it up here as well, so can hopefully answer any questions for you if you have any as they come in. We just got a little more vote now out of McLean County. Roughly about 15% of that county's vote came in, and it's a very close lead for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi, 42.2 to 42.1 or so. Only a difference of 2 votes, 937 and 935. So, in Kelly getting about 8.21%. I didn't mention Kelly's percentage in that one. She was getting 9.41%. So, Stratton and Krishnamoorthi polls seem to essentially be very correct. It's a two-way race between Juliana Stratton and Raja Krishnamoorthi in the 2 earliest counties to report their votes thus far, and it's more likely than not going to stay that way. I think we can see here, so this is the results map. We also have the margin map as well in terms, I believe this is by, result in terms of the margin of victory, like the margin of victory, I think is the best way to describe it. We also have the remaining map as well, where it shows you the amount of outstanding votes left. Obviously, big amounts out of the Chicago area and the Cook area, but that's where things currently stand right now. And just got a few more votes there. House 9, still no votes in at this time. For governor, I do not believe any votes have come in on the Republican side. We did actually get some on the Senate map, but not on the governor map yet. For Senate, McLean's come in for Tracy by a very strong amount. No surprise there. Let's see. We could look at, let's pull up Illinois Secretary of State for this one while we have this one loaded up. It's not working for some reason, though. Yeah. Illinois Secretary of State. Okay, the search bar is not working for that. All right, here it is. It's just going really slow. The Democrat is Alexei Janolius. He's winning without much of a primary. On the Republican side of things, it's a two-way race between Diane Harris and Walter Adamczyk, and it is a very close race, just one county so far. On the Senate side of things, still no more votes have come in out of any of the other counties. Juliana Stratton currently leads by roughly about 3 points or so overall statewide. And in the 2 counties that have come in thus far, McLean County's actually gone up a little bit in terms of the amount of votes that have come in. Roughly around 41.54% of the vote is now in, about 2,218 votes. Roughly about another 3,000 votes left to go in that county, but actually a pretty significant amount of votes that have come in there. St. Clair County's up to 18% of the vote in as well. In McLean County is going for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi, 42.25 to 42.16. St. Clair is 41.08, 37.75. So those most updated numbers on that. Still nothing out of the House race yet. In terms of the markets, nothing really has shifted too much since this race has started. It's at 66 now for Raja Krishnamoorthi. May have shifted a little bit in Juliana Stratton's direction, but I don't know if it's shifted too much. And let's see. Table options. Let's see what we have here. Leader. Yeah, I think that's good. Leave that there for now. And yeah, just still waiting for more votes to come in. We can look at the Republican map. Looks like got a few more votes out of St. Clair as well. About 33% of the vote in McLean and 22.3 in St. Clair. Bailey's running away with this so far in these two early counties. On the Republican side, very similar result. Don Tracy, the Republican incumbent, so far he's running away with McLean and St. Clair counties as well, up to about 31.5 in McLean and 21.54 in St. Clair. We can look at the Illinois Secretary of State page. Just do a quick refresh here. Diane Harris, this race seems to be the more competitive one of the Republican ones going on right now. St. Clair is going for Harris over Adam Check about 3 to 4 points right now. And McLean County is about 19 points at this current point in time. Also, what I'm going to do is open up, duplicate this tab. I'm going to open up the Illinois Comptroller or Controller one as well, because so far this seems to be a pretty competitive race. Holly Kim is at 32.35%. Margaret Croak is at 29.65%. Karina Villa, 25.34%. Only 0.62% of the vote in for statewide, but it certainly looks to be a pretty competitive race with three candidates getting a significant amount of the vote thus far. So I'll be periodically checking this one or checking on this one as well. For the Senate, still, I don't believe any more votes have come in yet. Just do a quick refresh on this one just to make sure everything is going smoothly. So far, I will say things been loading a little slow, but that's more I think on my end. But overall, things are going pretty smoothly with the amount of the election results coming in. Having a lot less technical difficulty issues than I did last time, so that's certainly good news. So this one's loading pretty slow. There we go. Okay. Illinois U.S. Senate, Republicans now in. Governor, just do a quick refresh as well. Make sure it's working. That one's coming in good. House 9 shouldn't be much of an issue here because nothing really has come in yet. And the U.S. Senate race, looks like we're still at where we were before. 41.39 for Stratton, 38.9 for Raja Krishnamoorthi, as we're just waiting for more votes to come in. But yeah, so far, not really too many takeaways yet. Still early on. Stratton leading over Krishnamoorthi in a very, very close race. Really expected at this current point in time. And I'm trying to refresh the page, but yeah, that one took a while. But there's definitely probably a lot more internet traffic and such on this one because this one in the Illinois 9th race are the one that everyone's kind of waiting on to see how they go. It's the most competitive one, certainly the headliner of tonight for Illinois and for what's happening tonight. Let's just see if there's any more votes that have come in on the overall counties. I don't believe so. 41.54, 18.13. So yeah, still the same there. In terms of the markets, let's see if they update in real time. It looks like they do. And the markets have actually gotten a lot closer on this one since we started the night. Krishnamurthy is now at 0.55. Well, actually, if you look towards the end here, I think we can look in the last 6 hours, make it a little bit easier to see. Roughly around 2:32 p.m., Krishnamurthy's at 60 to 42. Now, since the results started coming in, you can see right around 8:07 where the first results come in. Now it's down to 56 for Krishnamurthy, 47.72 now for Juliana Stratton. It's definitely moving in the direction of Juliana Stratton as this has gone on. That was the 6-hour one. You can see the 1-day one certainly more drastic as well when you look at it from this direction. So it could still be early. We have to wait and see how it ultimately all goes. But the early results that have come in thus far, at least on the political prediction market side of things, seems to be suggesting that Juliana Stratton is doing better than expected, and maybe she could be in for a potential win tonight based on what the markets are saying. In terms of the polling still showed it around a 2-point race, so it showed it super close as well. So that obviously is not going to change throughout the night. But on the market side of things, it's still very, very close. Looks like Stratton actually just took the lead now in the markets. In the second here on the all one, it's 56 to 49. But as you see over here on the final check-in, Stratton's now at 52.47. This is March 17th around midnight. Okay, that hasn't happened yet, so I don't know. That was midnight last night. I see. Midnight last night. Now, overall, Stratton looks like she's about to take the lead over Krishnamoorthi in this regard. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it on this chart. It's a little bit more difficult to see in the other one. So, Krishnamoorthi's about to take the lead, and then Stratton goes down a little bit there. Still no more votes yet. Maybe a few more, actually, 0.62%. No, still no more votes yet out of the Senate map, but certainly looks like to be moving in Juliana Stratton's direction on the early numbers so far. Looking at House 9, still no results out of there yet. On the governor map on the Republican side, no more votes have come in, but the Republicans still leading big. On the Senate side, looks like we got a little more vote, or a little vote has come in out of Kane County. This is roughly 38.54% of the estimated vote out of this county, and Tracy is leading the Republican. Evans 34.04 to 31.78. So this is actually a pretty big result for Evans, who at this point had been losing very large to Tracy in these two counties that have come in. So this county coming in pretty close. Evans down about 3 points there. Overall, that knocks the lead for Tracy down statewide a considerable amount. Now it's about 8.72%. Still only roughly 2.62% of the overall estimated statewide vote has come in on the Illinois U.S. Senate primary. So we have a long ways to go there, but certainly narrowed up after that county has come in. For Secretary of State, still unchanged. Diane Harris leading 54.6 to Walter Adamczak's 45.3. On the controller one, I don't believe there's been any movement here. Still a very close race. Holly Kim leading over Margaret Croak at this point in time. On the Senate side of things, still just waiting for more votes to come in. So 8:21 p.m. now on Tuesday, March 17th, as the primaries are officially underway. Thank you, everyone, for stopping in. If you're watching, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe as well. If you like this, if you want more election videos and live streams, certainly check those out. Also, I made up a feature in the chat where you can vote on a poll I made for which Democrat you think will win the Senate race, and you can respond to the Q&A about who you think will win the House District primary. We just got some more votes as well out of a few more counties. We got some votes out of Clinton County, about 20% of the votes in there. Krishnamoorthi is leading over Stratton, 43.7 to 29. Marion County, neighboring right next door, not too many votes in terms of overall numbers. Krishnamoorthi's leading there, 42.1 to 29.67. No pun intended on the 6-7, by the way. And we have 0.39% of the vote in. So very small amount out of Kane County, but the Democrat Bustos is leading. Oh, now the Democrat Maxwell is leading with 1% of the vote now in. Not too much of an impact in terms, again, for the overall margin of the state, but it has caused the numbers to get closer here for the statewide number. Juliana Stratton now leading by 35.51%. As a few more votes have come in. Raja Krishnamoorthi now at 33.93%. We just got a few handful, about 21.2% of the vote out of Pike County, 37.5 to 28.29. Looks like we also got some votes out of Williamson County as well. Stratton leading here. Very small amount, only roughly about 17 votes among the top 3 Democrats, but a lead for Stratton there. We got some more votes, it looks like, out of Kane County. A lot of votes actually have come in Kane County since I started covering it. And now it looks like Stratton is winning Kane County 65.89% to Kelly's 20.98 and Ryan's 80.3. So Kane County coming in very strongly for Juliana Stratton. And let's play a quick game just to check in on this. Let's see what the markets look like now in the last 6 hours just to see. And yep, it's definitely narrowing up. Juliana Stratton certainly on this aspect has the momentum right now. So we're starting to get some results in. Overall, though, what's crazy is even though we just had kind of like an influx of results in the last 2 minutes or so, it's still only 1.43% of the overall expected vote. For this, we can actually take a look at here and see what's going on here. The largest county is McLean County, still at 41.54. Mercer County's coming 28.7. Krishnamoorthi's leading here, very big, 52.4. McLean's only going for Stratton by roughly about 0.10. Now we can look at the overall votes as well. These counties that come in so far, Kane is the largest at 10,192, and there's still roughly about 36,000 left to go there. But with 22% of the vote in, Stratton is leading by a very large amount, 44.9%. The next largest by overall vote would probably be St. Clair County, which has about 28,000 votes left to go, about 6,000 that have come in. And looks like we just got a lot more vote out of Kane County now for Raja Krishnamoorthi, up to 48.51% of the vote in there. Very large vote dump. And Raja Krishnamoorthi is leading very, very big there now at 53.26%. Looks like we just got our first votes out of Cook County, roughly 2.5%. And it is, even though only it's 2.7%, a very large, very important amount of votes here. 18,000 votes have come in out of Chicago, out of Cook County, and 18,673, 4.62% of the overall vote. Still roughly about 385,000 votes left to go there. But those first early results come in, and Stratton is leading over Krishnamoorthi 40.78 to 27.58. Stratton at 7,600 or so votes. Krishnamoorthi 5,150. With those recent vote dumps, we're now up to about 3.68% of the overall vote expected for tonight has now come in for the Illinois U.S. Senate Democratic primary. Overall, Raja Krishnamoorthi is leading 41.29. Juliana Stratton's in second at 34.78. And Robin Kelly's in third at 14.14%. So results starting to pick up in the last 5 minutes or so as more votes are being counted and are coming in. Flag Amanda says, I voted for Kat. Let's see if we got any results in yet for the 9th District. I don't think... I'll refresh the page again, but we haven't had any votes come in yet for this district. But the second that any does, I will certainly check in. In terms of this race, I think it's gonna be close. The political market seems to suggest that Biss is leading over Kat Abughazaleh by a lot. I think honestly, that might be one where we see a lot closer of an election than expected, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, looks like we're still around 3.68%. We got to keep an eye out though on the Senate one because it seems votes are coming in very quickly. Now in this one, we can look at some of the counties that have come in. Mercer, smaller in population, about 28.77%. Still a big lead for Raja Krishnamoorthi. Kane County, 48.51. This is certainly a big one in terms of the amount of votes thus far. Krishnamoorthi's up 53.26 to 29.89 for Stratton after the early numbers, which were about, I think it was 10% of the vote in. Looked like Stratton was actually leading by a pretty considerable amount. Ultimately, though, Krishnamoorthi gets a very big vote dump there and is now leading in Kane County. Quick look again on House 9. Still nothing yet. For governor, on the Republican map, a few more votes have come in. We have some votes out of Cook County for the Republican side as well, where the Republican Dabrowski is leading 48.42 to Bailey's 31.15. Darren Bailey is still the heavy favorite in this race, though he is down right now about 3 points, 40.71 to 37.39. Still 7.39% of the vote in there. Long ways to go on that one. On the Republican Senate side of things, Don Tracy is leading over Jeannie Evans by 15 points. So this one's certainly going as expected thus far. The Republican Don Tracy running away so far. On the Secretary of State, this one is a very competitive race and competitive situation right now. Walter Adamczyk is leading over the Republican Diane Harris, 53.21 to 46.79. Also about 7.43% of the vote in. For the controller one, this is going to be close to the fact that the three candidates are getting a high amount of votes here. And this one, Margaret Croak is leading with 37.6%. Karina Villa is in second place with 30.42. And Holly Kim, who according to the market's been surging in the last few days, is in third place with 22.72. This is going to be a close one to keep an eye out for as well. We just got some of the first results out of the Illinois US 9 with roughly 12.48% of the vote in, and it is in Cook County where Biss is leading 32.4%. Fine is in second at 27.14. Kat Abughazaleh is in third place at 18.31% in this part of Cook County. So let's see here, roughly about 26.09% of this part of Cook County has come in this race, and you can see the markets reacting to it over here as well, with Daniel Biss up to about 83 percent now. Democratic primary winner in this race after that vote dump has come in. So 26.09%. We'll have to wait and see ultimately as more votes do come in. But Daniel Biss is off to an early lead in this race with Laura Fine in second and Kat Abughazaleh coming in at this point in third place. I will say that is a surprise to me that Kat Abughazaleh starts out in third place. I thought she'd at least be in second place at this point, but obviously still very early on. We'll wait and see how the votes have come in. Her numbers are starting to go down as well. She's now down to 18% to win on that one as well. But I'll keep an eye on the 9th District. On the Senate map, looks like got a few more votes in along with that district as we did out of Chicago, out of Cook County. Raja Krishnamoorthi currently leading actually in Cook County, 36.62% to 36.43 over Juliana Stratton, roughly 9.67%. Nice, no, 67, 9.67% in for the overall statewide map. And Stratton, we can look at Cook County. Krishnamoorthi's up 3.2 with 23.82% of the vote in. Overall, roughly about 81,904 votes have currently been counted in, I believe that's Cook County. So there's still a decent amount of votes left to go there. Roughly about 261,000. So certainly Chicago with 385,000, Cook County 261,000. Still a very long ways to go on that front, but we're starting to get some early numbers in, and we're starting to get some numbers out of a very important and big area in terms of population. 48.41. I think that's the same numbers before. In Kane County, not too much has changed on that one. Mercer County, still about the same, maybe a few more in terms of percentages. Stratton is now leading 15 points still. McLean County still very close. Pike County, we can look at the margins here as well. The largest margin thus far in terms of victory has been Kane County, a very large lead for Raja Krishnamoorthi by remaining still roughly 13.45% in, so still a very large amount to go in Cook County. So yeah, still lots of votes left. So we're starting to see the early reactions thus far. The early takeaways seem to be that Raja Krishnamoorthi and Juliana Stratton, the numbers on the market side of things seem to narrow up, which is probably a good sign for Juliana Stratton, to be honest, at this point, as it's been very tight the last few days, and it's been kind of a back and forth, but early numbers would probably suggest good for Juliana Stratton, but I think certainly too close to make a definitive statement for this one thus far. On the House side of things, in the House 9 district, I think at this point in time, I think it's a very early optimistic lead right now for Daniel Biss over Kat Abughazaleh and Laura Fine. You can see as those first results came in, Biss was around 60.5, and we could look at the 6-hour view here. Actually, no, let's go to all. About 60.5, and these numbers come in. Kat is now down to 18.5, and Daniel Biss is up to 80.5. So certainly trending in the direction of Daniel Biss. Again, wait and see for more of those results to come in. Looks like there was a little bit more vote that has come in now, about 13.04% in. It looks like it came out of Cook County with roughly 19.6% of the vote in. Stratton's at 38.2%. Krishnamoorthi's at 33.16%. Overall lead of roughly about 7,000 votes now have come in out of Cook County. So 7,000 vote lead there. And 13.29% of the vote in. Certainly a very, very close one so far. Also worth noting, Kane County at 48.51 is close to about halfway there in terms of the overall votes, roughly about 23,000 votes left to go for that one. But in terms, even though we just got some more votes out of Cook and out of Chicago, Cook County still has about 23.82% in. So looking at roughly 77% of the votes still to go really in Cook County. Looks like we got some more votes that have just come in as well. Now 13.3% of the vote in statewide. Still a very close race. 36.98 for Stratton, 36.42 for Raja Krishnamoorthi. So only 13% of the vote in, but a complete nail biter between Stratton and Krishnamoorthi right now. This is going to be very, very close throughout the night as more votes come in. Looks like they came out of Vermilion County, where Krishnamoorthi is leading here by a large amount. Looks like we have a tied county right now out of Wayne County, Wayne County not too large in population here, but with 25.75% of the vote in, it is an exact tie, 30 to 14 for Krishnamoorthi, Stratton, and Ryan. That is coming there. Franklin County and Williamson County have been reporting some votes. Franklin up to now 29.5% of the vote in. Certainly a good amount of votes have just come in. Now up to 19.87% of the votes have come in here. And looks like in Cook County, we're up to 31.64%. So I think I might have checked in on this one, but there may have been a little more votes that have come in now. 37.2 to 34.7 roughly for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi there. So we're definitely starting to get some votes in these areas. We can look overall at the amount of remaining vote. Still large amount of remaining vote in Cook County, in Cook County, and a lot of the surrounding areas as well around Chicago have not begun to come in yet. But we're starting to pick up. We're starting to get some more votes to come in now, and we'll see how ultimately this all goes. But we're starting to get some results in. Okay. So I'm gonna leave out the Senate race for right now. Just check on the House 9, where we did get a lot more vote, has now come in. Roughly 28.35% of the vote is now in. Daniel Biss is leading district-wide, 34.01%. Laura Fines in second place, still at 25.31. Kat Abughazaleh is in third place at 18.52. So far, all the vote has come out of the Cook County part of the district, where Biss is leading by those exact numbers. So still 30.89% of the vote in, where Biss is leading by 8.7%. Just to give you an overall vote number, that would mean roughly about 37,095 votes have come in. Oh, looks like we just got an update as well. As I'm reading it, more votes have come in, now up to 59.35% of the vote in for this part of the district. So roughly about 25,405 votes left to go. And what this overall means is that Biss is leading by 8.7%, around 59% of the vote in. So, I mean, less than half the vote to go here. For Kat Abughazaleh to win this part of the district, and probably to win this district overall, she's going to need a lot of the remaining vote to go to her, and currently go against the numbers and go against the trend of Biss leading by 8.7%. So far, looking at this map, the early market showing Biss with an 88% chance to win seems to be a very strong indicator of how this is going, and that Daniel Biss is likely going to win as of right now. But still, 28.35% of the vote in, so we still have a long ways to go. There's still 25,000 votes left to go out of Cook, and we still have 57,600 to go out of Chicago. So this race is certainly not over, but the early indications thus far is Daniel Biss is doing very strongly, and Kat Abughazaleh needs to get those numbers up with the remaining vote dumps to have a chance to win this race. But so far, it certainly looks like that Daniel Biss is off to a very strong lead here, and that Kat Abughazaleh is in certainly a lot of trouble of losing this race based on the early numbers so far. It should be worth noting the markets I've been looking at as well. Poly markets up to 88% for Daniel Biss. On Kalshi, it's even higher, 92% chance for Daniel Biss to win now. So certainly these early numbers are looking good for Daniel Biss so far. On the Senate side of things, we're now up to 25.21% of the vote in. Stratton's at 37.93%. Raja Krishnamoorthi is at 34.48%. Robin Kelly in third place, 19.26%. So Robin Kelly's actually starting to get more of the vote as Kankakee County has come in, where she wins her first county of the night, or is winning her first county of the night so far. In terms of the largest margin so far, the largest margin's actually been in Cook County, which is right around a 6-point lead. In terms of overall the amount of votes, percentage is not going to line up exactly, because like Kane County is more of the percentage for Krishnamoorthi, but by overall vote number, Stratton's leading by the largest amount here of roughly about 18,000 votes right now in the Chicago Cook County area. So still very close way in terms of overall votes. We're starting to get a pretty significant amount of votes in as of now, roughly 131,469 for Juliana Stratton. Raja Krishnamoorthi is 119,525, with roughly 346,646 total votes that have been cast. So that's where things are currently standing on the Chicago. In terms of the reported right now, Cook County is still, or is roughly about 50% of the vote in. Kane County is at 48.51. Even still, 50% of the vote in, exactly, still another 171,000 votes to go out of Cook County. It's saying on the map 40.3. Down here, it's saying 50, so we might have just got a few more votes out of Cook County that are not factored into the map yet, and it looks like we did get a few more votes, so the map will update as the numbers come in, but this is certainly becoming very, very close and continuing to be close as more numbers are coming in. On House 9, we have a very significant amount of votes that have just come in. Now we're up to 49.81% of the vote in for this district, 49.81%, so about halfway there of the votes are in. And the votes thus far that have come in out of Lake County, which we can see here on the numbers overall. Lake County is one of the smaller parts of this district, only roughly about 35,000 total registered votes here. Expected vote remaining roughly about 3,580, but it's about 40.54% of the vote in. Daniel Biss is leading there by 10.5%. Out of Cook County, about a 76.07% of the vote in, so a certainly large amount of votes have come in out of Cook County. Bad news for Kat Abughazaleh, though, is Daniel Biss's margin in this area has actually grown up now to roughly about 9.3% of the vote leader there, after it was around 8.5 before. So about 47,546 votes are in Cook County, and only about 14,954 currently remain in this one. Over in Chicago, some votes have come in now with 26.36%. And good news for Kat Abughazaleh. She's leading there by 5.4%, with still roughly about 42,415 votes to go. But so far, certainly looks like Daniel Biss is the heavy favorite to win this race. His odds on Polymarket are now up to 92% chance to win, as Kat Abughazaleh's once 32% chance to win is now down to roughly about 4.5% chance. On Kalshi, numbers are even higher, 97% chance for Daniel Biss to win there. Certainly looks like Daniel Biss is doing very strongly in the margins thus far, leading district-wide. Laura Fine in second place, Kat Abughazaleh not in second place, still in third place at this current point in time. We'll have to wait and see as the remaining votes come in out of Cook County, how they go, and out of Chicago, but unless there's a very big jump for Kat Abughazaleh, essentially out of nowhere, it looks like Daniel Biss is probably going to win this Democratic primary district. Still, though, only half the vote in, so we'll wait and see. But this district, the amount of votes it's dumping seems to be going pretty quickly. On the Senate side of things, we just got a few more votes in as well, including some in Will County, where Raja Krishnamoorthi is now at 43.17%. Kelly is at 15.53%, and Juliana Stratton's in second place at 34.65%. Now up to 32.5% overall statewide, and Juliana Stratton's leading in a very narrow amount over Raja Krishnamoorthi, 35.8 to 37.37 for Juliana Stratton. So I'll keep refreshing here to make sure I'm not missing any vote numbers here, but we're certainly starting to get a lot of the vote in on the Senate and House side, as we're getting some very quick results and very quick findings on this map. In terms of, I've been alluding to the political markets like Polymarket for the House race. On the Senate race, Juliana Stratton is now up to 73% to win the Senate seat, to win the Democratic primary thus far, where it started out the night. I believe Raja Krishnamoorthi was up around like 65, 68% when we started the night before votes started coming in. Juliana Stratton is now up to roughly 73% to win, with 36.57% of the vote in. Stratton's up 38.07. Krishnamoorthi's at 34.45. Robin Kelly's in third place at 19.34. Give you a quick look as well. There are other candidates running as well. Kevin Ryan is in fourth at 4.91. The rest of the candidates all are below 1%. So Kelly and Ryan are taking a pretty considerable amount of third-party vote, adding to roughly about 23%. But right now, Stratton and Raja Krishnamoorthi are in a very tough fight for first place at this point in time. For House 9, still at 49.81%, so no movement yet out of the rest of Lake County or out the rest of Cook County, so we'll leave it here for now. On the governor side of things, this is going to be the Republican primary for governor to face off against J.B. Pritzker. the Republican Ted Dabrowski is leading over Darren Bailey in a very, very close election right now, 40.39 to 39.16. Still expect Darren Bailey to win those more vote comes in. On the Republican side of things, for the Senate seat, also a large lead for Don Tracy. No surprise there. Still going strong. For the Secretary of State, 19.41% of the vote in. This is a very close race with Walter Adamczyk leading by 5 points over Diane Harris in a very close race. And for the controller side, we have Margaret Koch, who's leading by roughly 37.39%. Karina Velos, 28.29%. Paula Kim's 25.95%. Though the markets show it getting actually pretty close on Kalshi, but still Margaret Koch leading by roughly 37.39%. So we'll have to wait and see how that one comes in. House 9 still unmoved, and the Senate, we have a few more votes. It looks like 36.65%, with a 1-to-1 vote tie in Edgar, 50% in there. So we're starting to get some votes in. The votes are starting to come in pretty quickly. It was about 8:44 p.m. Eastern time. Roughly 504,000 votes have been cast in the Democratic Senate primary. So far, what we know thus far is Juliana Stratton's leading 38.04%. Raja Krishnamoorthi is at 34.48%. Robin Kelly's in third place at 19.32%. So a very close race so far. The early numbers seem to suggest that Juliana Stratton is doing very strongly. And if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say Stratton's probably more likely to win than Krishnamoorthi is. And the overall momentum of the last few weeks seemed to be paying off thus far in terms of how things have looked. On the market side of things, Juliana Stratton was leading early on. Raja Krishnamoorthi took the lead, but then you can look in the last week or so, and you would see that Juliana Stratton is one that took the lead for a little bit of time, and then Krishnamoorthi heading into Election Day took the lead. But now it seems that Juliana Stratton is retaking the lead. Now has a 79% chance to win the Democratic primary at this current point in time. In terms of the polling reflects this as well, where you can look back to say April of 2025, Krishnamoorthi was leading over Stratton here. In the last few days, last few weeks, Raja Krishnamoorthi was at 33.9, Juliana Stratton was at 22, and now the polls ended with Stratton right around 31.2%. So clearly there was a surge in the vote, not too dissimilar to what we saw in Texas, where it looked like Jasmine Crockett was leading the polls in the final days. James Talarico started surging in the polls, and he ultimately ended up winning that primary. It looks like we're starting to see a very similar result. With Juliana Stratton now at 85% chance to win, according to Polymarket, to win the Democratic primary. So again, still roughly about 63% of the vote left to go in this Democratic primary in Illinois, but the momentum at this current point in time seems to be on Juliana Stratton's side. And just with that, take a quick second to say thank you everyone for taking time to watch the live stream. If you're enjoying it, make sure to hit like on the, obviously in the video, hit like in the video. Make sure to respond to the poll in the chat as well on who you think is going to win the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate. And you can respond in the chat, who do you think is going to win the Kat Abughazaleh, Illinois 9th District versus Daniel Biss as well. Looks like we have about 15 votes thus far. Krishnamoorthi's at 60%. Juliana Stratton's at 33%. Robin Kelly is at 7%. Hi, David. Can you catch me up on what is happening? Sure. So a new primary, new live. Also, yep, absolutely, Brian. Absolutely. So what's happening right now is for the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate in Illinois. Right now, Juliana Stratton and Raja Krishnamoorthi are in a very tough fight for who's going to win. But thus far, the early numbers seem to suggest Juliana Stratton is performing very strongly. And I think right now, obviously barring amount of votes that have come in and barring changes, I think Stratton's probably the favorite to win the Senate race right now. So that's kind of like the Spark Notes version, is that very close race, Stratton currently in the lead. On House 9, we've gotten some more votes in, 56.3% of the vote. Daniel Biss currently leading over Kat Abughazaleh by a pretty significant amount. So looks like this race, where the Polymarket numbers show Daniel Biss with a 97% chance to win, Kat Abughazaleh down to about, I want to say that's like 1% to win this one now, or 5% to win this one now. We've seen some more vote come in out of Cook County. Daniel Biss is at 9.3%. 41% of the vote in out of Chicago. Still 33,000 votes to go there, with Kat Abughazaleh winning by 7.2. Lake County also has come in smaller in terms of overall votes, But with 40.54% of the vote in there, Daniel Biss is leading by 10.5. So overall, Daniel Biss has a lead district-wide over Kat Abughazaleh by roughly around, if you were to round up 17,000 to 13,000, you're looking at around a 6,000 vote lead out of the overall 7,664 votes cast. So a 6,000 vote lead there. There's a lot of votes left out. There's still roughly about 15,000 votes remaining in Cook and about 34,000 votes left to go in Chicago. And looks like we just got a few of those votes in now, actually, now up to 49.73% in Chicago. Kat Abughazaleh's lead is up to 9.6. So Kat has actually narrowed the margin overall district-wide down to about 6 points, 30.5 to 24.10, but still roughly looking at around a 5,000 vote lead at this current point in time. Now 60.09% of the vote in. Might have got more vote in that moment as well out of Lake County, I think. But so more votes are coming in out of Chicago and Cook County. And the way things are looking right now, Daniel Biss certainly seems to be the favorite with 60% of the vote in, but Kat Abughazaleh is starting to narrow those numbers up a little bit. Her biggest issue at this current point in time is that Cook County has come in 47,000 votes. The most amount of votes are in there, and still with an estimated 14,954 votes to go. It's going to outnumber, in all likelihood, when all the votes are in on Chicago and Cook County overall. The Cook County numbers are going to outnumber the Chicago ones, and that's where Daniel Biss is leading by 9.3%. Chicago, the good news is Kat Abughazaleh, for her, is winning by 9.6%. She's winning by a pretty strong amount, with 49.73% of the vote in there. But considering Biss is winning Cook by 9.3, for Kat Abughazaleh to win, she either needs to cut into those margins in Cook County, get them down to like 7, or I don't want to say 6, 7, but basically 6, 7 points. Or Chicago, she needs to get those numbers up even more to try and already counterbalance the 5,000 vote lead that Daniel Biss currently has. Biss and Abughazaleh are both good. I just want Laura Fine to lose. Well, if you're hoping for Laura Fine to lose, that probably seems like she's going to. She is in third place, 21.02. I mean, obviously it's close enough. It's a 9-point lead for Biss over Fine as the remaining 40% of the vote come in. We'll wait and see how it all goes, but more likely than not, Daniel Biss or Kat Abughazaleh for sure, but looks like Daniel Biss is the leader right now. Lefty, you said go Stratton. Let's check on the Senate map, where 42% of the vote now in, so another 4% has come in. And it's a close one right now, 38.3 for Juliana Stratton. Raja Krishnamoorthi down by 5 at 33.68%. Robin Kelly, 19.89%. So both of the, it's interesting, both of the Senate race and the House race do have a little bit of similarities here. We're heading into tonight. Before things started out, Krishnamoorthi and Kat Abughazaleh both started out in terms of, I would say, first place. The blue candidates both starting out with the advantage, and now the candidate in green, Juliana Stratton and Daniel Biss, both of which are leading in their respective races. Looking like we got a little bit more vote, 63.65% of the vote in for the U.S. House 9, and the lead is now 7 points for Daniel Biss over Kat Abughazaleh, where it's a little bit about 5,500 now, it looks like, maybe 6,000, no, about 5,500 votes have come in. It looks like some more votes have come in out of Cook County with 83.52% of the vote in. Some more votes have also come in out of Chicago for Kat Abughazaleh as well. Looks like a 9-point lead right now for Daniel Biss over Kat Abughazaleh in Cook County. Still 10,300 votes left to go out of there, but over 52,200 votes have come in there. In Chicago, 33,422 votes are in, an estimated 24,000 votes left to go in that area. 67.3% of the vote in district-wide of the 88,000 votes cast. Daniel Biss has a lead over Kat Abughazaleh right now of right around 5,000 votes, give or take about 300, right around 4,700 if you really wanted to get super precise. And it's roughly around a 5 to 6 point lead percentage-wise on the map. So in terms of how this is looking, it looks like Daniel Biss is still in a strong position to probably hold on and win. But with 67.3%, of the more these numbers come in these areas in Chicago and Cook get more blue, there is enough votes left out there for Kat Abughazaleh to come back. There's roughly about 34,000 votes left to go in just those two areas. There's still roughly about 8,000 votes left to go in Lake County and McHenry County. But for Kat Abughazaleh to win, she's going to have to win pretty much all the remaining votes pretty concisely. And we're going to have to wait and see if that happens. I don't think it's the likely scenario. I think Daniel Biss is probably going to win this, but we'll wait and see how that all plays out. Check the chat here. Could any of the elections have a runoff? So I don't believe so, because I think in Illinois, unlike Texas, there's no rule about the winning candidate, having to break 50%. Kind of like Texas, and like I know Georgia and I think Louisiana has that. Illinois, I think whichever candidate gets the most votes just wins. I don't think there's a 50% rule. So yeah, I don't think there'll be any runoffs tonight. On the Senate side of things, now 43.21%. We still see a 5-point lead for Juliana Stratton over Raja Krishnamoorthi. Let's see. By the way, when I look to the right, I'm just checking the chat that I have my other monitor just to see how you guys are saying. Robin Kelly is going to be the Wesley Hunt of tonight. Lefty says, yeah, it definitely seems like it. 20.09%. Doesn't really have much of a chance at winning with the amount of vote that are in. I mean, she's trailing Stratton by 18 points and Krishnamurthy by about like 13 points. So, yeah, certainly Wesley Hunt tonight is a good comparison there. And up to 43.21. I'll see if any more votes will come in. A few more votes will come in on the House 9 side. 69.8%. Biss is at 30.3%. Kat Abughazaleh is at 24.62%. Still roughly about a 5,000 vote lead. I'm going to guess, yep, we got more votes out of Cook County, 88.75%. So since the last check-in like a minute ago, another 3,000 votes have come in out of Cook County. And another 3,000 votes come in, another 7,000 or so remaining, and Daniel Biss's margin is now at 9.1, so roughly about another 0.1% gained on that one. But 88.75% of the vote in out of Cook County, and so we're almost there. Still another 7,000 votes to go in there, but we're almost there, and Daniel Biss is winning by a very large margin there. We're starting to get into the point where it's going to be tough for Kat Abughazaleh to come back with Daniel Biss putting up the numbers that he is in Cook County and leading of the 55,466 votes. His margin in Cook County is roughly about 4,600. Starting to get into crunch time for Kat Abughazaleh. There is still, again, enough votes with about 70% of the district in for her to come back, but she needs to win essentially all of them to come back in this race. So looks like Daniel Biss is in a strong position in this one. And on the Senate side of things, now 44% of the vote in, 44.4%. Stratton still leading over Krishnamurthy by about 5%. Let's see what we have here. What sort of people do each of the Senate candidates appeal to? Honestly, I'm not too sure. I haven't done a ton of research into that too much for this one because this one came up kind of quickly. So I haven't done as much preliminary research about the different candidates. I'm kind of just analyzing the election results for tonight. So if anyone in the chat wants to weigh in and respond to that question about what candidates they appeal to, by all means, feel free. New York Times did Mike Quigley dirty with that pick. I have not seen it, but I'm sure it's funny. Blue Wave, hi, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, sorry, dude. I just haven't done too much info into it. I don't want to give you false info or anything. Blue Wave says, I think Raja is more moderate and Juliana is more progressive. So if you want to look at it that way, then you could say if that's Blue Wave, what you're saying is true. Lefty says Juliana is the most progressive. She's the only one who said she won't vote for Schumer for leader. Okay, so if you want to look at it through that lens, the progressive of the two, Juliana Stratton, is up by about 5.5 points over the more moderate, I guess you say moderate establishment, Krishnamurthy at 33.21, I think. Yeah, Blue Wave says good. Schumer is kind of trash, respectively. I mean, yeah. See 38.5, 33.21. So definitely a large amount of votes coming in thus far. Still 56% of the vote or so left to go on the Senate side of things, but we're starting to get a lot of votes in, and Juliana Stratton is doing very strongly. It's been a little bit since I showed this, but at the start of the night, the polling for this race, Let's see here. It's going. I think it's having a lot of influx. It's having a little bit of trouble refreshing and showing the different tabs. So let's refresh the page and see if that fixes it. But the start of the night, the polling for this race showed roughly around a very close race, about a 4-point lead for Krishnamoorthi over Stratton on the chart as of March 14th. The overall average was 33 for Krishnamoorthi, 31.2 for Juliana Stratton, and there was still a lot of undecided vote and third-party vote up for grabs left to go. And right now, Stratton has certainly got a lot of that vote at 38.51. Krishnamoorthi's right around that 33.2. But Robin Kelly, like the comment said about being like a Wesley Hunt comparison, she's getting 20.23% of the vote. She is taking up a very large amount of vote. Robin Kelly certainly playing spoiler in this race and keeping Stratton and Krishnamoorthi likely from getting a larger amount of vote. If she weren't in this race, we'd probably see a more decisive lead for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi right now. That'd be my best guess of the situation, but Kelly very significantly getting 20.18. And Kevin Ryan, the candidate in fourth place, is getting 4.81%. That's certainly in a very competitive primary, nothing that can play a very important role as well, considering the lead's only about 5 points at this current point in time. Let's see here. Okay, so I actually got a lot of comments. Oh, geez. To be honest, Raja is the more establishment pick. Robin Kelly said here less centrist, but not by much. Have you recruited a dude named Ken Cornyn to be a late night politics dude, or did you find a John Paxton back? That's funny. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about the Ken Cornyn, John Paxton thing since the last live stream. I honestly completely forgot about that. So thanks for bringing that back up. That's funny. Let's see. Flag says Trump 2028. Democrats suck. Lefty meme says Juliana is the clear Bernie Dem option. Blue Wave says Elena, vote Juliana then. Flag. Oh, it's also Flag Armada, not Flag Amanda. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Flag Armada, my fault. Let's see. Trump voter voting for Kat Abughazaleh. Wow. Because Daniel just sucks. I'd vote for anyone who's anti-establishment. In fact, I started out as a Bernie supporter. Tulsi 2022. It's interesting. Nice. Okay, so now 44.85% of the vote in on the Senate map. Still not too much movement on the House map. Looks like it's still at 69.8% of the vote in. So a lot of the vote in, still roughly 30% to go, but we're doing pretty quickly in terms of the amount of votes in. Only about an hour in now, 9:01 p.m. into the stream. So we're certainly getting a good amount of vote in the amount of time that we've been going thus far. For the governor, we'll check in on the Republican primary. Darren Bailey is now leading over the Republican Ted Dabrowski by roughly about 3 points. So certainly closer than the polymarket odds showed. We're getting a 99% chance to win. For Kalshi, still at 98% chance to win with 27.83% of the vote in there. On the Illinois Senate map, Don Tracy's still leading very largely there. Secretary of State is still a very close race, 27.35% between Walter Adamczyk and Diane Harris. For controller, still a very close race. Margaret Croak at 37.3, Karina Villa at 33, and Holly Kim at 22.2 with 44.7% of the way in. So certainly very close race underway here for controller as well. Okay, looks like up to 44.89, so a few more votes have come in there. What's going on? Okay, so let's see. At this current point in time, I'm going to start looking at some of the counties with the amount of votes that have come in terms of the votes that are remaining on the Senate map. Just 1 second. Let's see. Betting markets just had Juliana jump to 95. Yeah, the betting markets certainly have Juliana Stratton jumping up to 95, 96% now. On the side, certainly with about up to, looks like with a few more votes now, 46.86% of the vote, and now a 6-point lead for Stratton over Raja Krishnamoorthi. It looks like Juliana Stratton is doing what she needs to do right now with the amount of votes that have currently come in. She's certainly certainly the favorite at this current point in time to win. Definitely agree with that. In terms of the overall vote reported by county, Cook County's at 78.31% of the vote in, so still 74,000 votes left to go just by the amount of people that live in those counties of the roughly 1.8 registered million votes or so. Still 74,000 left to go there, but 78% of the vote in. Chicago overall has had about 262,000 votes in, still 141,000 to go there, 65% of the vote in. Still a good amount of counties that have not had any votes come in yet, so still have a long ways to go there. In terms of estimated votes remaining, still 141,000 out of Chicago, 121,000 out of DuPage County, and 74,000 out of Cook. So still a good amount of votes remaining out of those top three most populous counties left to go. But we're starting to get some very significant results on the Senate side of things. And now 47% of the vote in, 38.72 for Stratton, Krishnamoorthi 32.89. Let's see what the chat's saying. Let's see, 47.04 percent in overall votes. If you want to look at the total vote numbers, roughly 646,833 total votes. 47% in, so we're getting close to about halfway of the Democratic Senate primary. 9:05 p.m. results are actually coming in very quickly for the Democratic primary. And oh wow, look at the markets now. 97% for Juliana Stratton, Raja Krishnamoorthi down to 3. Wow, that's on Kalshi as well. That is wow. In terms of margin of victory, it shows that Stratton winning by 6 to 9%, now leading at 44. Stratton at 3 to 6, 0.37, and Stratton 0 to 3, 29. So it certainly looks very good for Juliana Stratton right now, 97 to 3. You can look on Polymarket as well, 97 to 4. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, heading to the night, essentially 50-50 between Krishnamoorthi and Stratton for who's going to win. And then just boom. Complete straight line. Juliana Stratton, results coming in, surging for her. Raja Krishnamoorthi's results surging straight down. Without a doubt, a very, very big night so far for Juliana Stratton. And the prediction markets certainly seem to show that she is in for a very good night, has been thus far, will continue to be, and is in a very strong position to win the primary. Let's see. In terms of what to watch for right now, I mean, 252,000 votes for Stratton, 214,000 for Krishnamoorthi, roughly about a 40,000 vote lead or so at this point in time. Still a lot of votes left to go. Obviously, that 40,000 vote, if everything broke for Krishnamoorthi, could be made up. But again, kind of like with the Kat Abughazaleh race, everything would have to go Krishnamoorthi's way for that really to happen. And right now, it looks like Stratton's in a very strong position to hold for something like that. For the House race, the U.S. House 9, a few more votes will come in, now 73.31%. Daniel Biss leading 30.17%, Kat Abughazaleh 25.13%, Laura Fine 20.28%. There's also a lot of candidates running this one as well, so I haven't mentioned this yet, but there are Mike Simmons getting 7.2%, Phil Andrew getting 6.4%, Bushra Amawala getting 5.2%, Hona 1.7, and Patricia Brown 1.14. So there's also a very significant amount of vote splitting happening in this race, and Laura Fine getting 20.28%. Due to how close this race is, she is technically still in it, unlike with the Senate race where Robin Kelly is kind of out of it by the amount of vote that's come in. Laura Fine is still in this race, but it looks like Daniel Biss and Kat Abughazaleh are the ones fighting for this race thus far. In terms of the votes that have come in, we've had a few more votes come in out of Cook County with 89.6% of the vote in. Still roughly about 6,500 votes left to go. So about 500 more votes have come in out of Cook County. Biss now leading by 9 points there. Chicago still roughly 65% of the vote in. Another 20,000 votes to go there. Kat Abughazaleh up by 10.9. Let's see. So yeah, so this race still not about another 4% in, but still got a good amount of votes left to go. Roughly, let's see, 20,000, another 6,500. That's 2,600, 3,000. Roughly about 34,000 or so left votes to go for this race, and it's only about a 4,000 vote lead. So the margins are there to be made up, but again, would have to do is Kat Abughazaleh would have essentially have to do like everything to make those margins up, and it's going to be tough to do. Especially, oh wow, look at what Pollard market is. Daniel Biss is at 99%, 99% chance to win, or 97 according to this, but 99 to win. Kat Abughazaleh is down to 4. Yeah, I think that's pretty indicative. And then Kyle, she's no different. 99 for Daniel Biss. Kat Abughazaleh at 0.3. Certainly, the results in the market's looking pretty bleak for Kat Abughazaleh and pretty strong for Daniel Biss. On the Senate side, 47.87. So still a few more votes have come in. Not a very significant amount of movement there since the last few check-ins. On the Republican governor side, Darren Bailey still leading over Ted Dabrowski. A little bit of movement down, about 0.3, but nothing really significant. On the Senate side, Don Tracy's at 99, still leading very strongly here. Secretary of State, still very close race between Walter Adamczyk and Diane Harris, 52.06 to 47.94. And for controller, very close race underway, 47.56. Margaret Cropes at 37.28. 33.29 for Corinna Villa. Holly Kim at 22.06. In terms of the market on this one, Margaret Cropes still the pretty heavy leader at this current point in time, despite the very close early result. On the Senate, a few more votes in, 47.95%, 38.68 to 32.93. Let's see. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. Oh, a lot of chats happening. That's funny. Uh, okay. So still 47.95% of the Senate map. On the House map, 73.31. So still nothing there. But yeah, 99% for Daniel Biss to win now. Hasn't made a call yet in this race. I think they're still waiting a decision desk for the final few votes to come in out of Chicago and Cook County. So we're waiting for those to come in, but we're probably getting pretty close to a call in this race. 73.31% of the vote in. On the Senate one, up to 48.15%. This one I think is going to take a little bit. It is Juliana Stratton certainly is in the driver's seat in this race. Without a doubt, is going to be Stratton's definitely the one looking like she's going to win, but we have to wait and see if more votes come in. Oh, come on, Blue Wave. You don't know who Freddie Benson is? Neither iCarly? Oh, come on. I don't know why. I just look over the chat and I just see iCarly Freddie Benson. I'm like, what? That's funny. Okay, so still 48.15%. Oh, got a quick update 49.27%. Some votes will come in out of Massac County or Massac County. With 49.27% of the vote in, Stratton's lead still over Raja Krishnamoorthi, right around 6%. We can look at an overall vote margin here. Chicago is netting Juliana Stratton a very significant amount of votes. Looks like roughly around 60,000 votes or so out of Cook County, Chicago. So it's playing a very significant role. In terms of the remaining amount of votes, still a lot of votes remaining. Still about 27% left to go out of Cook County. Roughly around 197,000 votes or so left to go there. Okay, well, this says 68,000 on the county list part, but still a very significant amount. Still roughly about halfway the vote to go on the Illinois Senate map for the Democrats. For the House 9, still 73.21. Governor, a few more votes will come in. For the Republicans, 33.1. Darren Bailey leading over Ted Dabrowski by roughly about 8 points. On the Senate one, Don Tracy still leading very strongly. Illinois Secretary of State, 51.42, 48.58 for Diane Harris. Controller, 37.24, very close race underway in the controller race, a roughly 4-point lead in this one. So let's drink some water and check what's going on here. Yeah. 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 Brian says Juliana Stratton is the James Talarico of this primary. Yeah. I mean, it definitely, the similarities here, like the polling, the political markets where she was down in the final few days and started surging. Now she's leading by like 6 points on election night with about half of the vote in. I mean, certainly looks like Stratton's following a very similar playbook to what James Talarico did. Only difference I would say is that Juliana Stratton obviously is doing very well in Chicago and certainly getting a larger amount of the African American vote, where James Talarico's pathway to victory did not really, because Dallas and Fort Worth and such and Houston did better for Jasmine Crockett. But aside from that, yeah, I 100% agree. They're very similar and strategies are very similar. Okay, so still no more votes yet out of Illinois House 9. A few more votes on the Republican governor side. A few more votes on the U.S. Senate side. Secretary of State is actually very close now, 51-49. Adam Check versus Diane Harris, very close going on there. And controller, still a very close race on that one as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. David, that Austin and San Antonio did go to Talarico. That's true. I think I want to say Austin was also the district that Talarico represented in the state senate, so that is true. He did do well in those urban areas, but in the urban areas in Texas that had more African American and more Black voters, like Dallas and Houston, they did go stronger for Jasmine Crockett. That was just the point I was making there, but that's true. He did win. He did win those areas. Let's see. Oh, actually, let me go from on top chat. Let me go to live chat just to make sure I'm seeing everything. Because that happened last time where I was missing some of the super chats. So I'll make sure I got it. It's all good. I mean, obviously, not the election results coming in slowly, so all good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Wait, it's all good. Got 49.3% in on the Senate map still. 73.1 on the House map. I wonder if I haven't tried this yet on this one. Okay. So the margin here in Cook County is 29.91 for Daniel Biss, 25.4 for Kat Abughazaleh. Actually, Again, no, I did not. I think the problem was that stream was 5 hours and 30 minutes. That once it ended, I just like fell asleep and I think I forgot everything that happened. So no, I unfortunately did not remember to look that up. But I'm gonna take a photo of that with my phone right now. This time, I promise I will look it up after. But what do you think of the margins for the general Senate election will be if each candidate wins? Is for Texas or Illinois? Are you talking about? Well, Illinois would be safe Democrat. Texas, I'm still sticking with likely Republican for right now. If Ken Paxton wins, I have it going to lean Republican. But let's do Talarico leading among Hispanics and voters or Hispanics and whites. Talarico, one Hispanic whole city. Republican opponent oh, Illinois. Um, well, Illinois, I think, assuming it's going to be Juliana Stratton at this point, which now up to 52.4% of the vote in, certainly looks like it's going to be her. I actually don't think it really changes too much just due to how Democratic Illinois is and the election environment. In 2024, it still voted for Kamala Harris about 10.9%. In 2020, it voted for Joe Biden by 17. And the last two Senate races have also been around that margin of 15.3 for Tammy Duckworth in 2022. 2020, Dick Durbin won by about 16 points. So I think we're probably going to see it be right around that 15, 16 point margin to be a safe Democratic win for Juliana Stratton. So I don't think it's going to be really too much in play at all for election night. Like there'll be a lot of states on the Senate map that ultimately will probably go to their respective parties, so maybe a little bit more competitive. Like for example, Montana could argue safe Republican or likely Republican, but I still think it stays red at the end of the day. I don't think Illinois is going to be in that conversation. I think it's going to be safe Democratic pretty much throughout the entire process. Let's see. So Stratton's still leading about 5 points. Let's want to go back to the House 9 one. Where yeah, overall about 4,000 vote lead for Biss over Abughazaleh in Cook County. About 23% left to go there. Lake County, a margin of roughly about 200 votes out of there. So just waiting to see the remaining vote as well. Still roughly about 26,000 according to the map votes out of Cook County, and still another 3,580 out of there. And McHenry is 4,727. So the margins are there. I mean, it's about a 4,800 vote gap between Biss and Kat Abughazaleh, but certainly it's not looking too great for Kat Abughazaleh, but the margins could potentially be there for Broker Way, but still waiting for more. Let's see. Due to time. I think it's wrong to keep Texas as likely no matter who wins. Just because John's more electable doesn't mean he is. A corporate funding dude versus a populist with low manga turn doesn't bode well. No, I don't. I don't disagree. What margins do you consider likely and lean? So yeah, I go on the margins for the JJ election map margins, which is the 1 and under is tilt, 1 to 5 lean, 5 to 15 is likely, and then over 15 as safe. Those are the margins I usually use. And so I think the Senate for Cornyn versus Talarico would be right around a 6 point win. So it's certainly on the lower end of likely. I don't think it's going to be like a 10 point win or anything. I do think it's going to be very close. That's why I'm blue waving making your point about likely no matter what. I don't disagree because I am already close to having it as lean for Cornyn versus Talarico anyway. And honestly, some of the points you make there are actually pretty good, but I do have it just a little bit over due to the fact usually how red of a state Texas is. But in a blue wave, certainly falling under 5 could be the case. For Paxton versus Talarico, I definitely think it's going to be under 5 points. So that one starts out as lean for me for sure. But yeah, I could see that. But I think even Cornyn as the nominee will be closer than 2018. I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, 2018 was really close. 2.6% for Cruz over O'Rourke. Like, It's possible. I don't think. I mean, Talarico is certainly a formidable Democratic candidate, so it's possible, but I don't think so. Personally, I don't. In my most recent rankings, I don't. But that's what elections are for. We'll find out. 53.43% in now. Stratton leading over Krishnamoorthi, 38.8 to 33.15. House 9 got a few more votes in, 73.7. Daniel Biss is at 30.2. Kat Abughazaleh is at 25.1. Laura Fine at 20.3. Those few votes came out of Cook County. Now 90.42% of the vote in. It was at 6,500 votes to go. Now 5,990. So another 500 votes or so there. So not too much movement out of Chicago or Lake yet. So a few more votes to go out of Cook County, but a little bit more of a lead for Daniel Biss there. I'll leave it on the Senate map for now as a few more handful of votes have come in. Okay, let me explain why. That's fair. Text turning more purple regardless of the shift. Dems have gained among the white voters. Suburban voters, shifted back. James will have everyone out there for him. He's invested much more into rural counties than Trump has slammed. Trump is now more unpopular than in 2018. I mean, all good points. It is all good points. The question I think also though is Ted Cruz was also super unpopular, and he's going to be more unpopular than John Cornyn or Ken Paxton. I think Cruz. I think Ted Cruz would probably be a little bit more popular than Ken Paxton, but that still kind of goes without saying. John Cornyn, I do think Cornyn has the popularity edge. I know what you're saying about that, but what is number 2 and 4 Blue Wave? Uh, can you elaborate a little bit on that? I don't really understand the question too much. I mean, you're making a lot of good points, Blue Wave. I'm not gonna lie, you are making a lot. Paxton is terrible, and Cornyn isn't in a weird position where MAGA hates him, and no one thinks he's moderate anymore. Hmm. It is a good point. You're definitely making a good point. It depends, because what you're saying, it makes sense. And I mean, obviously, the Democratic primary did end up having more votes than the Republican primary did in Texas, which certainly should be at very least some sort of a wake up call. So you're making a good point. It's just that Texas does still it voted in 2024 for Donald Trump by 13.7%. So for it to go blue at the Senate level, a lot, like you're saying, those shifts that are happening in the rural areas and with Hispanics, there would have to be a massive shift for the Democrats to win. Like we saw in 2020 when Joe Biden against Donald Trump went for Trump by 5.6%. I certainly think something like this would be possible, but getting it under 5 points, I could see, but getting it down to like a 1 point win or like the Democrats actually flipping it, it's just, I don't know. It's Texas. It's kind of like I can't really imagine it going blue until the Democrats actually find a way to do it. I mean, James Talarico is in a strong position and it's a strong election year for it to happen, but I don't know. You're making good points. The popularity issue of Paxton, if he ends up being the nominee, is certainly a good point. I do think, though, Cornyn, I mean, I don't disagree. He's in a tough spot right now, like you're saying, but I also think being a longtime incumbent, kind of what Susan Collins did in 2020, is a lot of times people will show up to vote, and just because they voted for them before, even if like they're having a harder time or they're more unpopular now, a good amount of people may turn out and vote for them anyway. So I still am sticking if Cornyn is the nominee around a 5.6 point victory. Paxton, I mean, you're making a lot of good points. All bets are kind of off in that one. Like I would on the Paxton point, I would concede to you. On the Cornyn one, I'm not 100% sold because I do think he'd find a way to pull it out. Moderates don't flex about how they vote with the random time. Isolates him because of what he said about Trump. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a good amount of super MAGA pro Trump Republicans that are supporting Paxton that would not vote for John Cornyn. I definitely don't disagree with you. The question would be though, if Trump comes out and endorses him, and I assume would do a rally or two for him in Texas, do they just get out and vote for him anyway, or do they stay home? I bet. I mean, a good amount of them may stay home, but if enough of them turn out to vote, it would still probably end up being a narrow Republican victory. But I mean, when you're explaining it, it does make a lot of sense. It really does. I just think Texas in its DNA is still a little bit too red for it to flip blue, but you're making a lot of sense in the points you're making. Also, there hasn't really been too much votes that have come in yet for Illinois' U.S. Senate race. 55.61% in. We haven't had too much come in the last few minutes or so. 39% for Juliana Stratton, 32.85 for Raja Krishnamoorthi. On House 9, we're up to 75% of the vote in. Daniel Biss is at 30.02%. Kat Abughazaleh is at 25.4%. Also on the poll market odds now, Daniel Biss is up to 99.1%. In terms of the votes, looks like unchanged out of Cook and Chicago. I think had some more votes come in. Kat Abughazaleh up to 11.4% lead, roughly about 18,410 votes remaining there. So 75%, still 25% of the vote in, but Daniel Biss is strong in that race right now. Let's see. You say there needs to be an insane shift in 2026 to make things happen. Look at the Stark County 24 and 2026 primaries. Yeah, it's tough because primaries sometimes can be a big indicator, but also sometimes may not mean much. I think at very least it showed there was certainly a lot of turnout enthusiasm in Texas, which is why I think it's going to be right around that 5 point margin, if not narrower. So I do think I don't disagree with you. I do think there's Democratic momentum in Texas and Democratic momentum nationwide. I think we saw that with all the special elections going blue. I just don't know if there's enough of an enthusiasm gap to turn the state blue. I think it'll be enough for it to be close. I don't argue or I don't disagree with you there. I'm just not all the way there yet on saying Texas is going blue. It was a bad sign, even the primary for the incumbent being competitive is a bad sign, even if the incumbent wins. Yeah, David, I would agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think we saw, even at the presidential level, I think we've seen that where if the incumbent president gets challenged in a competitive primary, the president like almost always loses. I don't know what the statistics are for the Senate side of things, but I think honestly, I think that's a good point. I would agree with that. Talarico's right now is like invulnerable. Republicans can't get him on anything. Yes, but also Talarico, like I've seen some. I know Trump's been going after Talarico recently and trying to like go after him a lot. If Cornyn ends up being the Republican nominee, Trump and the Republicans are going to keep hitting him on stuff, and that at very least may try and get some of the Republicans who are pro Paxton to get out and vote. Which, yes, Talarico is going to make this race a lot closer, but if Trump can get enough of them out, it may account for a very narrow victory once everything is said and done. Is there any copium left for Kat available? I'll take anything. Uh, okay. She's down. Kat's currently down by a little under 5,000 votes with 25% of the vote left. In terms of the overall votes left to go, there's nothing out of McHenry. There's still some votes left out of Chicago, Cook, and Lake. If you were to add them up, you're at around, let's say, about 24,000 or so, 27,000. So you're still around a little bit over 30,000 votes left for this district. And the good news is there's still about 18,000 votes left in Chicago, where she's doing pretty strongly. She's winning by 11.4. And roughly about another 6,000 votes left to go for Daniel Biss out of Cook. Means almost all those votes are in. The only copium for Kat I can say right now is to grow on the margins in Chicago and cut into the margins a little bit with the remaining 6,000 votes left in Cook. She has to try and cut into those margins to be able to pull off like a very, very tough upset here. Lake County, it's smaller. It's only 3,580, but she needs to cut into those margins as well. Literally every single vote for her at this point counts. McHenry, I mean, she would need to like probably really need to win McHenry by a lot to have a chance here. So in terms of copium, I don't have much to give you too much for the Kat Abughazaleh one right now, especially considering that, I mean, this district going pretty strongly. for Daniel Biss right now. But yeah, it's essentially, Kat needs to start getting votes out there that have not really come in so far and really go strongly for her. It's her only pathway for winning right now. So it's not really the most optimistic copium, but that's kind of what she has to do to have a chance to win this. Let's see. Um, Cliffy Red's good evidence. Yeah, but I don't disagree because isn't that clip like also a few years old too? I don't know how effective that's going to be. I will say though, I know that we're in 2024 when Trump hit Kamala Harris on that with the commercial, the they them Trump is for you commercial. It certainly seemed to be effective in a lot of red states. Now it was a different election environment, obviously, than 2026 is going to be. So maybe it's effective, maybe it won't be. But I do think in a state like Texas, that may have a little bit more of an effect than say in some other states, like a state like Illinois, for instance. In 2024, Trump won. Star. Yeah, be more economic oriented. I mean, honestly, the truth of the matter is, it's March 17th, and we're like debating how competitive this race is going to be. Like, truth is, we're probably not going to have a really good idea until like second week of October after Labor Day as things start to shift. And then once we're in that position, we'll see how things are looking in the polling, how Trump's numbers are looking. Because if Trump's numbers get any worse, I mean, Texas may go blue. If his numbers get better, maybe the race gets like less competitive. I don't know. I don't think that would happen, but I think we're probably a little too far out to have a definitive say in how the race is going right now. That's true. Yeah, that's certainly true. Blueberry making a good point there. I mean, look, all the historical precedent won. The historical precedent for 2026 is this should be a very good election for the Democrats, and I certainly think it can be and probably will be. It's just a question of does that extend to like Texas? Being more of a likely red state, but does show some signs of being a competitive, like 5.6% in 2020. The Senate race in 2018 only being 2.6% for Ted Cruz. It opens the door for sure for the Democrats to do well there and to win there. It's just, it's tough to imagine Texas going blue until I actually see it. But it's going to be competitive without a doubt. So that door is certainly open. Uh, let's see. So I don't think the items work as well. No, I don't. I don't think it'll work as well as it did for Trump versus Kamala in 2024 as it did. But I also think that election environment was more certainly more red and certainly more an environment for that for Trump to do well in that. But Texas is still more of a like a likely red state, so I think that may work a little bit better in Texas than say it overall would nationwide. But I don't disagree that it'll probably be less effective. Who do you think will win Alaska and by how much? Alaska's close. Alaska's really close because we just saw the House race where pull up here 2 point win for Begich over Peltola. Now Dan Sullivan as the incumbent who won in 2020 by 12.7%. I think he's in a stronger position. I know the early polls have not looked great for him, but I think he's in a stronger position than Nick Begich was. But this is a better election environment for Peltola, and this is going to be a just super close race. I do have it under 5 points right now for Dan Sullivan. It's in lean Republican for right now, but Alaska is certainly one that one could definitely flip if everything goes the Democrats' way. It's really close right now, but kind of like Talarico, Peltola is the perfect Democrat to try and win Alaska for the Senate race, and she could definitely be in play of doing it. Lean Republican right now, but certainly that one can definitely flip. 59.72 now on the Senate map. Stratton still leading by around 5 points, 38.6 to 33.75. Let's see. I know. I think Talarico. I think will run. They'll run a better campaign. I don't think they'll have any major blunders like that. say Alaska's a toss up. I mean, toss up, but for me, it's kind of like anything lean and under. I'd start out as a toss up category anyway. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I do think Dan Sullivan's still narrowly favored right now, but that one's gonna get close. That one's certainly getting close. Politician and Beto and Cornyn's weaker than Cruz due to the environment. A fair take. I disagree. I know the points have been made throughout the night. I disagree. Cornyn's weaker than Cruz. I think he's stronger than him, even though he is, I know, having some problems with the more Republican wing of the party. But I do think he's still more popular than Cruz. But is Talarico a more talented politician than Beto? I do agree with that. But I do think Cornyn's still stronger than Cruz. Oh, I see what you're saying. Is Cornyn weaker than Cruz due to the environment? Uh Here's the thing though. Because if the environment of 2026 is like 2018, I mean, Montana went blue, Ohio went blue, West Virginia went blue. I don't think it's going to, and Florida's only like less than a 1 point win. I don't think we're going to see an environment like that. I think it's going to be more of like a localized Democratic win. Like we'll see like Texas being competitive. You'll see, actually, it's probably a bad map to use an example. You'd see Texas and Alaska being competitive. You'll see North Carolina being competitive, probably being blue. You'll see Iowa being closer. That's a good. Actually, that is a good question. I do still think going into it, approval wise, Cornyn starts out stronger than Cruz, though. Even if the environment is probably going to be very strong for the Democrats, where the Democrats won in 2018. Does it give the vote percentages here? I don't know if it does. Yeah, let's see if it can. Let's see if it shows the percent vote. I don't think it does. Popular vote. Okay, it does. Yeah, Democrats want. I mean, there's a lot more blue in the map, though. Forget it. It's not even gonna be. It's not making. It's not making the point that I'm trying to make. Yeah. So for this part, what I'm saying, or what I'm trying to say, is that I do think Cornyn is still a little bit more popular just going into it, but with the election environment, like you're saying, I could see it. I could at least I could see it. I think that is a good point. A few more votes on the Democratic side, up to 61.2% for the U.S. Senate Democratic primary. Stratton's at 38.74. Raja Krishnamoorthi's at 33.75. Still 40% of the vote or so left to go, but Juliana Stratton's now at 99.7% chance to win the primary on the poly market. Kalshi's probably very similar at 99%. Still waiting for more votes to come in, but for all intents and purposes, this race essentially is going to go to Stratton. On the House side of things, a few more votes will come in, 75.45, and Daniel Biss leading over Kat Abughazaleh by roughly about 4.5% or so. Biss leading over Abughazaleh there. A few more handful of votes will come out of Cook County. On the governor one, Darren Bailey's been officially projected as the winner for the Republicans to face off against J.B. Pritzker in the general election. That one probably shouldn't be all that competitive, though. In the general, considering in 2022, Pritzker won by 12.5% against Bailey. So in the rematch in a bluer election environment, probably going to be just as blue, if not even bluer. So, but he'll be the Republican nominee to face off against him once again. For the U.S. Senate race, Don Tracy's been called as the winner of this race to face off against either Juliana Stratton or Raja Krishnamoorthi, but most likely going to be Stratton. But again, given how blue Illinois is, 11 points for Harris in 2024, Biden winning it by 17 in 2020. We're probably going to see the Democrats win here by over 15 points in 2026 midterm general election. For the Secretary of State race, still very close between the two Republicans to face off against the Democrat incumbent. That race, again, will probably be a very safe Democratic win at the general election level. But this race is very close on the Republican side, 51.6 for Diane Harris, 48.4 for Walter Adamczyk. For controller, 60% of the vote now in, and it's a very close race. Margaret Croke still leading over Karina Villa and Holly Kim by roughly about 3 points over Karina Villa. But this is a very close race as more votes are coming in. Let's see. Let's see. I think Peltola has a very slight edge. I mean, early polling she has thus far. Have we gotten? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just waiting for like an Emerson poll to come out showing what Alaska's looking like, because I know we keep getting polls, but a lot of them are like either Democratic or Republican firms. I just want one that's not like affiliated with either party to get a look at it, but I definitely think she could be. Let's see. Sorry, Blue Wave, I lost. I'm trying to catch up in the comments, and Hattier's just lost. Here we go. Not convinced by well, Trump won by X amount since automatically red. You want to last for 4,000 votes. You know, input as advisors. That's fair. That's fair. Especially in a midterm environment that's Democratic friendly. That's fair. After the 26 Texas primaries, tweets from Tallarico that he tweeted in 2020 how much identity politics. Yeah, it depends. I mean, that's going to be the Republican campaign effort, Brian. Like you said, it's going to be trying to hit Tallarico on the identity politics stuff. Tallarico is going to probably be playing the 2024 angle of trying to hit on the economy and affordability, gas prices, and such. So I think in terms of messaging, Tallarico certainly has the edge there on those issues being more important than on the identity politics stuff, which is why I think the election is going to be so close. But I do still think Texas is a little bit too red for it to go blue, but I do think it's going to be very close. I think that it's easier for minority parties to do well in midterms than election years. Yep, I agree with that. I mean, it's kind of the fun part of the midterms. Like 2014, the Republicans did great. 2006, the Democrats did very great. So if the Democrats have a great enough night and Trump is polling and the Republicans are polling bad enough, I mean, yeah, Democrats could have a complete absolute blowout of a night where Texas goes blue, Alaska goes blue, maybe Iowa, Ohio, maybe in the right situation, Montana. Like if the Democrats are doing so well, like 2006, or everything goes their way, yeah, it certainly could be. It's just hard to envision that right now, given kind of how polarized like our elections and our politics have been really since 2016. But I mean, it's certainly possible. If everything breaks, it's certainly possible. I don't get it though. What makes Cornyn so popular? He's turned off independents and likely Latinos and diehard MAGA hates him. Here's people who are really conservative but too MAGA. Well, I think for Cornyn, it's not that he's so popular. I think it's more of a once the general election hits, he's going to change his campaigning. He's probably going to go back to trying to be the Republican he was of old, of being more of a more moderate type Republican. I don't know if it's going to work because it's certainly, like you mentioned, it's going to anger a lot of MAGA voters, but I think he just has to win over enough independent voters to keep, really to stay alive and to win. It also, again, gives him the help that he is running in Texas, a state that has not elected a Democrat since like 1988 at the U.S. Senate level. So I think this is certainly the right election environment for Cornyn to go down, and he's certainly not in the most strong position in terms of popularity. So he definitely could go down. I just still think with all the factors added up together of him being the longtime incumbent, likely having the endorsement of the president in a state that voted for him by 14 points last time, enough of that I think goes his way to bail him out and narrowly win that race. Not by a lot, definitely not by a lot, but I think enough to narrowly pull it out. 2026 is likely to be much better right now. Okay, it sounds like you said Margaret Krog and Kremaville. What? It's funny. Oh, for the Democrats, I think 2026 could be better than 2018. I don't know. It's not going to be better than 2006 probably because that was like the Democrats hitting like historical like highs. But if they do hit that number, then could be. Soul said they called the race for Stratton. Who did? Was that Decision Desk? Was that New York Times? Or I mean, makes sense. 99.7% chance to win on the poly market odds, and Stratton still leading 38.83, 33.79. 5 point lead at this point, 64% of the vote in. I mean, it looks like Stratton is certainly going to win. I want to know if Croak or Kernaville will win to go controller. Okay. Let's pull it up here. 63.74%. Croak's still leading by about 3 points over Karina Villa. And Holly Kim's at 23.46%. This one's close. This one's very close. I think at this point, Croak probably a slight favorite in this race, but this one's certainly very, very close. Let's see, House 9, few more votes, 26.87%, 29.92, 25.5. Let's see, Cook is up to 91.35%, so they're doing like 1% every like half hour. It seems like 5,409 votes to go there. Nothing's really changed too much since the last update. Still a 9-point lead for Biss there. So Kat Abughazaleh is still in a pretty tough spot. Probably not going to be able to win this, but have to wait and see as all the votes come in. But it looks like Daniel Biss is more likely than not going to win this one. Senate, a few more votes come in, about another 0.19%. Let's see. For Maine, I don't endorse either Plattner or Mills because the Plattner's passed. I know we apologize, and Mills sounds like a bland candidate. I think Mississippi should be likely are. I mean, it's Cindy Hyde Smith. Enough said, but go ahead. But I feel like I may agree with you on the Mississippi one more than the Texas one. But Maine, I will say, Maine, I'm going to be very interested to watch that primary. For Plattner versus Mills, I have no clue who's going to win that one, but I'm very excited to watch and cover that one. Yeah. Definitely interested to see that one. 64.2. Still 76.87. Governor, I mean, I guess the Republican one, we don't need the governor one anymore. Now that that race is called, we can probably close that one up. Senate, same thing. All just to face off. Actually, maybe I'll leave it up if I want to do a future. Actually, no. I don't think I need them. I'll just close those up. Secretary of State, still very close. Controller, still very close. Are there any other close primaries in Illinois that I'm missing for right now? If there are, you can leave them in the chat as well if I'm missing any. Let's see. She has never won by more than 15 points. True. Especially in 2018, just after Trump won by 17, not much less than 20. Scott Calms, a moderate who can drive a black turnout. Dems have recently overperformed Mississippi and broke the GOP supermajority in the state legislature. Honestly, I don't disagree. The map I have right now, I think I got going with the 5 and under being toss-ups. I have the Democrats at 45, Republicans 49. And I did add Montana, Nebraska, Iowa, Texas, and South Carolina with Lindsey Graham to likely. I would add Mississippi to likely. I can get with that. Trump also 2020 Trump won it by 16.5. He did win it by 23 last time. But yeah, she only won it by 10 points in 2020. The special election was 7.3. Yeah. No, you made some good points in that one. I agree with you on that one. I'm with you. On that. I'm endorsing David Costello in the 2026 Maine Democratic primary, even though he has low recognition. I mean, yeah. If you want him to win, I can't promise it's gonna go too well for you, but hey, endorse who you want to endorse, right? Yeah, I mean, 45,000 vote lead for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi here. Like, Decision Desk should probably be calling this one pretty soon. Kansas, especially if shares editor runs, Kansas is rapidly becoming more purple. And the blue governor. They have, but I was also banking on Kansas going right back to being a safe red state at the governor's race. I mean, could be wrong, but although their governor's elections are always kind of wonky, they are always competitive. But without her at the top of the ticket, I feel like it's going to be more competitive or less competitive without her at the top of the ticket. I mean, Sam Brownback was unpopular. He only won by 3.7. But then in 2010, when he first won, it was 30 points. So, 16 points in 2024. Senate race 23, 2020 is 4. Yeah, I can get with it. I see the point you're making. I can see it. Plus, Sherrod Edwards is a very strong candidate. Sharice Edwards is a strong candidate. I mean, she won by 10.8% in her district in 2024, 12.2 in 2022. And it was redrawn before that. It was 10.1. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair too. So likely in Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Texas, Mississippi, South Carolina. I think it's fair. Kansas went 2 points redder than 2020 while the nation shifted 6 to the right. Yeah, that's true. That is big. That is big. That is very significant. Honestly, Mississippi and Kansas, you've convinced me. You've convinced me on those. I'm just looking. It's so funny because I'm like, I look at the Democrat ones. I'm like, which ones could fall under 15? Oregon, I'm like, no. Colorado, no. New Mexico literally can't. Illinois, no. Virginia, no. Delaware, no. New Jersey, no. Mass, Rhode Island, obviously, no. It's kind of funny. Like, the Democrats have, like, not really any room in the election environment to have one fall under 15. The Republicans, like Montana, yes. Nebraska, Kansas, Texas, Iowa, obviously, Mississippi. Florida, maybe. Florida could fall under 15. Oh. Florida could fall under 15. That one wouldn't be too much of a shock. But let's see. Still 64.98% now on this one, on the Senate race. Wyoming could be likely as there is no incumbent for the Senate. Yeah, I'm not buying Wyoming. Like Trump, that's one where you could say like, does Trump winning in 24 matter? He won it by 46 points. It went 51 points in 2024. 2020 it went 45. There does not need to be an incumbent for that one. There's no way. Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's funny. No, that's funny. You got me on that. I was like, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Was New Mexico just was that the one where there was one Republican running and they didn't meet the required signatures or something, so they couldn't be on the ballot? It was either that or there like literally wasn't like a candidate running. There just was no Republicans running. I thought there was one that was running and got disqualified, and that's why I ended with no one. No, Idaho's not going. No, 36. Yeah, come on, come on. I will say Democrats like for 2026, the fact that Democrats may potentially win. I mean, they're probably going to hold on to Georgia and Michigan, but they may win North Carolina and Maine and are in a position to flip Ohio, Alaska, and maybe flip Texas and Iowa. Like, you don't even need to throw Idaho in there for them to have like an amazing night. Like, Democrats are in for a very good 2026. Whether they win the Senate or not, they're in for a very, very good night. Even making some of these states like Nebraska, Kansas, like Texas, Mississippi, even if they are under 15, even if they don't win them, they're still in for a good night by making them competitive. Yeah, I was joking again. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, there was one that got disqualified. Yeah, it makes sense. C 65.42%. House 9 still 76.87. It's funny because like I feel like in the next few like vote drops, this could definitely be called for both races. But the vote like reporting has slowed down a lot in the last like hour really, so we're still waiting, but like this could I feel like this can get called relatively quickly. Diane Harris is pulled back ahead in the Republican Secretary of State primary. Controller Margaret Croak is still leading by about 3 points, 65.8% of the vote in there. Up a little more votes, 66% in. Nebraska will be red by less than 5. It's possible. Yeah, Dan Osborne in this election environment is a good candidate. Definitely could be. Could the Republicans win Vermont if Phil Scott runs? You talking about for Senate or governor? Oh, if Wait, I'm confused. You asking, can he win if he runs for Senate? No, definitely not. I don't know why. When you said that, I thought you meant, will the Republicans win the governor's race if Scott doesn't run? And I'm like, no. If Scott runs for Senate, also no. But it's just like, it's no different than like Maryland with Larry Hogan, where he ran for Senate. Instead of losing by like 20, he lost by 11.8. It was more competitive, but no. To make Missouri competitive in 26. What's up in 26 for Missouri? Because the Senate race, there's no Senate race in 2020. There is the governor's race, right? Is there no governor's race? Oh, that was up in 24. Oh, so what's up? What's up for Missouri? Vermont doesn't have a Senate race. Senate? Yeah, I don't think there's no Senate race for Vermont or for Missouri in 2020. Oh, are you saying that if there was a Senate race in Missouri this year, you think it could be competitive? I think it would definitely be more competitive. It may fall under 15. I don't think it'd be too competitive. I think Missouri's time as being competitive has kind of passed, but I think it'd be more competitive. Let's see. Stratton's leading Chicago, just Cook County, but Chris is leading the outside of Chicago and the suburbs. No, it will be in Senate in Utah too this year. Yeah. So now officially 2/3 of the votes in, 66.28%. I mean, yeah, it certainly looks like Stratton's doing very well. Let's see here. 74% of the vote in. Still about 105,000 left to go, but Stratton's winning here by 19.1%. Like, crazy. Uh, let's see vote reported. We got over 95% of voted in McLean County. That's all in for Stratton, Stark, Pope, all in, Grundy, all in. So only 4 counties are over 95% in. Donahue's at 94.2, Whiteside, 20,000. King County, 41.925 thousand, 90% in. So still a decent amount, a few thousand votes left. Cook County, though, 83.1% in. So a lot of vote in there, but still 58,000 votes to go. I'm just screwing with you. I'm serious. Mississippi. uh, I mean, I won't lie. You're making good points with Kansas and Mississippi. Like in 2018, I think, or was it 2018 or 2020? They both were under 15. Yeah, it makes sense. At very least, the Senate map should probably be by percentages at least as blue as 2020 was, where like Kansas and Mississippi's in play. So I would agree with that. Only things this time around is like North Carolina is probably going to be bluer than it was in 2020. Maine's going to definitely be less red, going to be more blue than it was in 2020. So it'll be a little bit more blue in terms of the overall popular vote across all the Senate races. But I would agree with Kansas and Mississippi being likely. I wouldn't disagree with that. Up to 67.9%, still roughly around a 5 point lead for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi. For House 9, finally for the first time tonight, got some votes out of McHenry County, 79.9%. And roughly, oh wow, a lot of votes have come in actually, 83.9% out of that county, the votes coming in. Here, Daniel Biss is leading by 2 points. 3,966 votes have come in, still about 761 to go. And Daniel Biss is leading in that area by roughly about 100 votes or something, a little bit less, maybe like 70-ish votes. So for Kat Abughazaleh to win at this point, it's looking pretty slim. Because Chicago, there's still 16,000 votes left, and she's winning by 11.41%. Those are good votes that are going to benefit her. But McHenry is a 2 point lead for Biss here. There's enough to make this county go for her, but she needs she literally needs every vote she could get at this point. Likely first, she would need to win McHenry County or at least pick up a few votes there. Lake County, she needs to, of those 3,500, win a decent amount. Cook County, win all of those 5,409, 80.18% of the vote in. 82% now out of Cook County. Yeah, when Cook County's going for Biss by roughly about 4,000 votes, and Biss is winning district wide over Kat Abughazaleh by like right around 5,000 or so, a little bit under 5,000. The difference is in Cook. Lake is only about a 200 vote difference, only about a 100 vote difference in McHenry, but Cook County's making the margins. It's making the difference here. Without Kat Abughazaleh getting the margins down in Cook and getting more votes out of Chicago to break into that margin, she's just not going to be able to win unless she gets those margins down. At this point, it doesn't seem like she'll be able to, but again, wait and see for the numbers to come in. I think the Senate race in Alabama and Tennessee, North Dakota could be competitive. All that depends. Is Phil Bredesen running in Tennessee again? Why do you think that states like Tennessee, Arkansas, and Alabama are so much more red than Mississippi or Louisiana? That's a good question. Actually, we've never really stopped and thought about it. Tennessee and Arkansas and Alabama are so much more red. I don't know. It's a good question. They've kind of just always been red in the 2000s. Mississippi did only vote for Romney by 11.5, but Arkansas 30 points, Louisiana 30, 30.5, Mississippi 22.9, Tennessee. They've always just kind of been red. Yeah, probably more black, blue. Yeah, definitely could be. Yeah, for sure. Now up to 70% of the vote in for the Senate race, and now a 6 point, or no, still under 6 points, but a larger lead for Stratton over Raja Krishnamoorthi, 39.15 to 33.78. House 9 numbers still remain unchanged. Secretary of State, 79% of the vote in for the Republican Illinois Secretary of State. It was still a very competitive race there. For controller, 69.6% of the vote in there, in a still very, very tight race underway here. A few more votes, looks like, came in, 70.32%. I mean, I think they'll probably call this. Like, they haven't called it yet, but I think they probably could. How much money was spent in Illinois 9 for this electorate size? Do you have Discord? I do not have Discord now. How much money was spent in House 9? I know it was very competitive, but mainly because like every time I opened YouTube, there'd be like an ad that like Kat Abughazaleh was putting on. But like, surely it was probably a lot of money spent. But it's a close race. It's a 4 point lead for Biss over Kat Abughazaleh right now. And there's still, of the area, in the one area that Kat Abughazaleh is winning, there's still 16,000 votes to go. So, it's a close race. Let's see. Sorry, jokes as you get when you It's all good. No, don't worry. Don't apologize for that. You're all good. All good. Something like $15 million for one House primary. That's crazy. That is crazy. 15 million with 4 million spent in the last week. Wow. I'm so annoyed because I'm so into the midterms, but I can't even vote in them. I feel that. I feel that. The first midterms that I covered was 2018, and I wasn't old enough to vote in them yet either. So I get that. But still cool. Like, even though it does suck that you can't vote in them, but even still, it's cool to like watch them and like see what's going on, kind of play like a spectator role, see what's going on across the country, and kind of look at each different race and how they're going. Yeah, yeah. $15 million for one House Democratic primary seat. Wow. Mm. Let's see. So, still waiting for more votes to come in. Drink some water now. I might as well check the poll. I haven't checked on it in a little bit. Got who do you think will win the 2026 Illinois Senate primary? Stratton's leading 52%. Raja Krishnamoorthi 44%. Robin Kelly 4%. In terms of the Q&A, I don't know if I'll do a Q&A again. Just figured I'd try it out. YouTube studio. I think I want to say 65 and up, I think was the largest amount. I haven't checked in a while though, because I know the views have been a little bit lower in the last few months, but I think 65 and up was one of the higher numbers. I don't think under like 25 was that high up actually for my analytics, believe it or not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either, but I think it was like under it was something like under like 5% of my total viewers were under like 20 or 25 or something like that. I can probably double check like late, like after tonight or something, but yeah. Well, I got a little more votes, 71% in. 39.2 for Stratton, 33.77 for Krishnamoorthi. House 9, no update yet. Still around 80% of the vote in there. First place in the first round taught me to still check the prediction markers during the election. That was definitely the surprise of the night for me. I remember like when we were watching that in real time, I did not think going into it Cornyn was going to win, but I'm 24. So of this group, I'm the old elder of this group, I guess. Yeah, I'm getting old. Let's see. Looks like 39.2, 33.7. Margin information still. Almost every county looks like he's got some margins. Oh no, there's just still a few out there that don't have any. I was gonna pull up the math to figure it out. He just said, I don't want to make you have to do the math. It's all good. All good. So still a good amount of votes left out of Cook. Or actually, yeah, I was on margin looking for remaining now. Remaining still roughly about 153,000 left to go there. A few thousand still out of Lake. I mean, there's still certainly enough votes left out there for Krishnamurthy to catch Juliana Stratton. She's up by about 53,000 votes, but at this point in time, based on how she's been performing these areas, like probably not going to happen. Probably going to see her, Juliana Stratton, hold on. A few more counties have broken 95% now. And let's go by the amount of votes that have come in so far. Chicago and Cook County, 76%, 83%. DuPage is at 57.6. So the amount of votes that's left to go, Chicago's still 95,000, which Stratton is leading by a lot. Cook only 0.4% lead and still 58,000 there. So that's probably why they haven't called it. Is the top three out of the four most votes remaining counties. Krishnamurthy's either leading or being competitive in, so maybe that's why they're waiting for more of the votes to come in. But Stratton's probably in a strong position here. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Rosie Wallace. Unk. Yep. And Cody Young. That's true. I got another. What's that? I'd be prime age to run for office in like 50 years. I'd be 74. That's prime age. That seems to be what's going on now, right? Get to like low to mid 70s and start running. And run to like 95 or something. Yeah. Yeah. No. Stratton is not. Mm. Yeah, 71.36 on the overall vote. I mean the odds are without a doubt like it's 99 to 1 for Juliana Stratton to win. I mean, wow, Dick Durbin at 0.01 is now second. I think that kind of says it all here. Like Juliana Stratton's she's going to win. That's honestly really funny. Actually, that Durbin's won again. Yeah, and Polymark is the same thing. 1 to 0.1. Like, no, the Senate's over. I am just the margin of victory though. I'm curious by 3 to 6 is at 61. 6 to 9 is at 0.4. So that's still up for grabs in terms of how that's going to go. Yeah, it's interesting though. It's very interesting. She's leading now by about a little bit under 6, and the final polls only had Krishnamurthi up by 2. So those undecideds, those undecideds that broke for Talrico, like in Texas, that broke for Stratton, and this one now leading by 6 points with another 29% to go. Yeah, yeah, no. I wonder what's more likely at this point: Krishnamurthi winning the Senate race or Kat Abughazaleh winning the House race. Probably, probably Kat Abughazaleh in the House race. Actually, let's check this one. 99 to 3. I mean, yeah, look at that. I mean, it completely broke for Daniel Biss. 98 to 1. Yeah, to 1. Oh, no, she's falling behind Jan Schakowsky. Oh, that's yeah. I think they're pretty equally going for the leading candidates right now. Let's see. 80.18. I mean, once we got a few more votes actually in, up to now 82.56%. Where'd they come out of? Cook doesn't look changed. They might have come out of Chicago. 13,074. I mean, now it's an exactly 4 point lead for Biss over Cat with roughly about 4,700 vote lead. So now we're down to 18,000, 21,000. We're right around 22 to 23,000 votes remaining overall for this district, and roughly about a 4,000 vote lead for Biss over Kat Abughazaleh. It's like mathematically possible, but the rate in which he's winning, probably not. It's also worth noting, I think her margin went down a little bit in Chicago at 10.9. I thought she had over 11 a little bit a while ago. It also doesn't help her. She's losing Lake by 10.5 and Cook by 9. That doesn't help her for sure. Let's see. On the Senate side, still, broke a million total votes. That's pretty good. Still 73.14%, 39.3, 33.58. I mean, if I'm doing a good enough job, hopefully there should be like no indication of which way I'm going. So hopefully I'm doing a good enough job, but try not to let it affect me at all. But also, about 2 hours and 18 minutes in, I have to switch to water number two. So, doing better than last time. Also, I just want to say, Ted 19, thank you everyone for watching. We've had over 350 people watch since the start of the stream. So obviously now Brian, Blue Wave, Blueberry, David, Brian, or I said Brian, but yeah, you guys have been commenting for a while. So thank you guys for sticking around watching the stream as the results are coming in. Probably going to wrap it around 11. So still got another 40 minutes to go, but I don't know if I can do another 5 hour one. That was a little too much last time. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around and watching. If you haven't hit like yet, make sure do all that stuff. 73.3% in. Still a very strong lead for Stratton over Krishnamoorthi. In House 9, don't. Is there a little bit more? 83.25. Did it go up a little bit, or is my eyes deceiving me? Oh, it went up a little bit. Cook and McHenry went up like 1% each. About 4,500 votes to go in Cook County. Biss still up by 9. McHenry now down to 1.9. So still some votes left out there, but Biss is still in a pretty strong position. This race leading by 4.1%. Actually, the margin might have got a little bit. It got smaller from like a minute ago, but it got a little bit larger from like 5 minutes ago, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think, I mean, it goes without saying, but we're just waiting for the votes to come in. But I think this one we know how it's going to go. Let's see. It's possible. It's possible. I'm sure there's. I'm sure Blue Wave. There's probably some like political studies out there that's probably asked that question and done like a focus group or something about it. I bet there's probably some info about that. What was your longest and new record? I think it was. I think it. I think the last one definitely was. I think it was like. I think the first one I did for the Tennessee special election, I think was like to actually stop right there. Juliana Stratton just officially got called the winner by Decision Desk HQ in the Illinois Senate Democratic primary. Officially, Juliana Stratton has won, defeating Raja Krishnamoorthi and Robin Kelly, and will be the Democratic nominee to face off in this Senate election. Bistol the pistol? What? Jul. Oh, Biss. Oh, okay. Okay, that took me a second. So, Juliana Stratton officially wins. It's interesting because the writing was kind of on the wall for this one in the final days of the polling. Again, I keep making the comparison to James Talarico, but right around January, Krishnamoorthi was leading, right around 34%. Numbers never really deviated too much for him, going down to 33.6. But the momentum in the final few days and the final few weeks were all on Stratton's side. She skyrocketed in the polls. She's at 22% on February 24th. She ended around 31.2% on March 15th. The momentum was clearly on her side. Robin Kelly was spiking a little bit too at the end, but clearly the momentum was on her side in the polling. In terms of the markets, let's see if we can get it. Now that the race is called, yeah, I won't have it anymore, but the trend showed a back and forth race between Stratton and Krishnamoorthi in the final few days, clearly showing that her momentum in the race was making this a lot closer race and up for grabs. And even though Krishnamoorthi did start the night favorite around, I think it was 69%, he was favored to win. Stratton very quickly pulled ahead as the early votes came in. And now at 10:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with 74.5% of the vote in, Juliana Stratton's officially called the winner in this Democratic Senate primary. She'll be advancing into the general election, facing off against the Republican winner, who is D. Tracy, and that will be, in all likelihood, a safe Democratic win. Let's see. Yeah. I'm not. I don't know if I'm touching all that. The U.S. Senators from Illinois will be a first from Illinois. Def. Honestly, I don't have the stats on that, but certainly could be. I don't know whether to Stratton or Krish, but in this primary election, I was leaning towards Stratton. I clicked off to a different browser. When I came back, it said, "Welcome to live chat." That's funny. That's funny. Oh man, I just had a point I wanted to make and I just blanked. Um, yeah, I lost it, but it's okay. Yeah, so Juliana Stratton officially called the winner in this race, and it is interesting. It is interesting. I thought the numbers are a little bit lower than I thought. I think I had it something like 41 in my prediction. I think it was for Stratton. Krishnamoorthi, I thought would be up around like 38. And Robin Kelly, I thought would be like right around like 12, kind of what happened with Leslie Hunt. But Juliana Stratton really consolidated a lot of the support, and Raja Krishnamoorthi just really didn't get a whole lot more than the polling was showing him at. I guess it showed like in the final few days of the campaign in terms of the voter enthusiasm, the people that are getting out to vote. It showed a lot of them, especially in the Chicago area, which, like as we mentioned at the start of the stream, was key for who was going to win. Was that Juliana Stratton doing well in the Chicago area led to her winning by 40.01% with 82% in. Krishnamoorthi getting 29.11%. Chicago, so many people living in that area, just so closely, densely populated, that getting out to vote for her ultimately made the difference in this race. I mean, she's winning by what? Oh, actually, the numbers just refreshed again. She's winning by 60,000 votes or so. Yeah, about 60,000 votes statewide. And she's winning out of Chicago by 70,000. The margin of Chicago literally made the difference for Stratton in winning this race. Put a dot on the. What? What lanes did Stratton and Chris occupy? I feel like I had Bernie endorse Stratton. Um, lanes did they occupy? I'll not too sure. I'll defer again to the chat on that one. I think the comments was the progressive candidate was more Stratton. Krishnamurthy would be considered more of like the establishment candidate. How is Brian number one? Number one, I've chatted away more. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how that all the chat stuff works. Like, I feel like each live stream I do, I'm like learning as I go, but not too sure. But yeah, so 10-20, Stratton's officially called the winner, so we know Stratton will be advancing to the general election. I'll keep checking this as more votes come in, but we're gonna focus on House 9 now, which is at 83.25% of the vote in. Still not called, but certainly a call could happen at any moment now. As we just wait for the final votes to come in out of Chicago and out of Cook County. Where things currently stand, we still have another about 4,500 votes to go out of Cook. Chicago itself still has about 13,000 votes left to go there. Lake County, 3,576 votes left there, only about 40% of the vote in, and 749 left to go out of McHenry. Obviously, Chicago, largest amount. That's where the key area is for Kat Abughazaleh. She's winning there by 10.9. If she can grow the margins, it's possible she can make this race closer, and we'll see ultimately how close it gets as more votes come in. But mainly, just wait and see on this one to see where the rest of the votes are coming from. But the main prize of the night, the Democratic U.S. Senate primary in Illinois, has officially been called for Juliana Stratton. Now, the other competitive race that came into the night watching, House 9, getting close to the end at 83.25%, but we're still waiting for those results to come in. Oh, math joke. Oh, that's funny. I mean, without a doubt, Blue Wave, 100% more confident that you are better than me at math, without a doubt. Oh, uh, my Spanish is way too rusty. I know hello. I'm saying how are you boys? Yeah, I definitely did not do good enough job in Spanish. She won the primary so definitively in 2027. Both Illinois U.S. senators will be women. Yep. Yes, they will. I don't know if I feel like Illinois could be competitive in the general or maybe not. Yes, I think if it was like 2022, maybe it'd be a little bit more competitive. But I mean, Illinois is like such a blue state that even like Tammy Duckworth won it by 15.3%. So without an incumbent, maybe it'd fall under 15 points. But in 2026, in a blue wave, like at a minimum, when Biden won it by 17 points in 2020, we're probably looking at something similar to that at an absolute minimum. So I think it's probably going to be pretty safe in the general. I'll just leave it on House 9 for now. Spanish teachers very eccentric. Want to hear a funny story? Yeah, sure. Why not? Robin Kelly winning. Henning County reminds me of the third Texas Senate can't. Yeah. Man, I already forgot that Democrat candidate's name too. But remember he flipped out in the chat when he won a county. He was like, "What?" Didn't he send out a tweet saying like, "Get out and vote" or "Thank you" or something for that candidate or for that county? Well, let's also check in on the Secretary of State. It's been a while since I checked on that. Secretary of State Diane Harris is leading Walter Adamczyk 94.5% of the vote in. So just about all the votes are in. 53.16, 46.84. So very close race. Very, very close. Looks like most of the votes are in. There's still a decent amount of remaining vote. So there's enough votes left out there to probably swing the margin, but getting probably unlikely based on how Harris is leading. But a lot of the sizable vote that's left out there is in the areas that are being won by Walter Adamczyk. So this could get close, but probably going to see Diane Harris hold on and win this. Controller, 75% of the vote in. It's a very close race. Margaret Croak, 34.91. Karina Villa, 32.44. Holly Kim, 24 points. So it's funny. Interesting. The night Holly Kim started out in second place, and then Karina Villa took the lead. And I was wondering if Kim was going to be able to take the lead back, but it looks like he's between Croak and Villa for first place right now. So that's very interesting. House 9 still waiting. Senate still waiting as well. Okay, let's see. Who do you think would win in Michigan? Haley Stevens, McMorrow, or El Sayed? That is such a fascinating race. That primary. It's funny. I feel like that one changes every few months. I think the recent trends have been Mallory McMorrow has been surging in that race. I think right now I would have her be narrowly favored, but I mean any three of them truly could win. It's so competitive. I think right now I'd probably go McMorrow and then Stevens El Sayed. But I could definitely flip Stevens El Sayed too. It's very close, but I think McMorrow is barely ahead right now. Okay. The 2026 Democrats will win majority control pickups for both houses of Congress. It's crazy is that a few months ago, I'm like, there's like the Democrats certainly win the House. Like, I think they will, but like Democrats win the Senate. I'm like, well, there's no way they're going to win the Senate. Like the map's just not like really in their favor to do so. But I mean, based on how the Democrats are polling and how President Trump, the Republicans are polling, the Democrats win in Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, and Maine. It gets them to 49. And then if they can flip Ohio, it gets them to 50, Alaska 51. It's plausible. Paltola gives the Democrats a real chance in Alaska. Sherrod Brown gives them a real chance in Ohio. It's certainly possible. So might be onto something there, Cool Blue. Might be onto something. Oh, is this a story? Okay. One time, huh? He's so Sandwich. Huh. That's I don't know how to react to that blue wave. I don't know how to react to that. Huh. That's huh. You stumped me. You definitely stumped me there. Wow. That is a fun story, Blue Wave. That is a fun story. Yeah. Who I think wins the Democratic primary in Michigan? I think McMorrow, but I think it's gonna be like I was gonna compare it to this one where it's like a 6 point race, but I think it may even be like House 9 where it's like a 3-4 point race and it's like really close and the winner gets like maybe right around like 30-32% or so. Like something low where a lot of vote splitting going on. Could be something like that, but I think McMorrow right now, but I think that one's definitely super close. The Secretary of State one for Illinois, it looked like we're getting close to the end on that one. Now at over 95% of the vote in, or right around 10:32 p.m., they officially called it. Diane Harris, the Republican, has won this race. She'll be facing off against the Democratic incumbent Secretary of State, I believe it's Alex Giannoulis, I believe, and that one's expected to be a pretty big win for the Democrats as well. But officially, the Secretary of State page for the Republicans is now done. Diane Harris defeats Walter Adamczyk in this very closely fought Republican primary. Okay, so now we'll look. Got two really. We have the Senate races. We're watching more results come in. Juliana Stratton's been declared the winner, but we have two very close races left in House 9 and in Controller. Looks like we got a few more votes out of House 9, up to 84.57% of the vote in. Looks like maybe a few more votes out of Chicago. Kat Abughazaleh up 10.6 with 80.3% in. Still 11,000 votes to go there. I think that had to be where the votes came from because Cook and Lake County still look the same. Lake's still 40.6% of the vote in. So still waiting for some more votes out of Illinois U.S. House 9, but I think certainly we're getting very close to the end here for this one. Yeah, you're welcome, Cool Blue. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you saying that. You're welcome. It's my, what is this now? Fourth live stream, I think. Yeah, third or fourth live stream. So doing more, trying to improve each one as we go, but they're fun. They're fun doing it. Certainly a little a little nerve wracking trying to think of stuff to say for like 3 hours, but they're a lot of fun as the results come in. Obviously got the chat, see what's going on here and all the stuff being said here. So it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's fun to talk, see how everyone's doing. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's rough. Michigan leaning towards McMorrow, and I'm endorsing her. I'll say that's my second favorite. Yeah, I think it seems like read my other thing, please. It's fine. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's fine. I did see that blue wave. I did see that the betting markets have a 50-50 for the Senate now. Don't forget to have a terrific Tuesday. Yeah, it's. I mean, clearly the momentum's on the Democrat side right now for the Senate in 2026. I'm like, I'm being a little cautious with it. I think the Democrats could win the Senate. I still have the Republicans, I think 51-49 right now, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked come like September if the Democrats are doing well. If it's the Democrats taking the Senate, I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, read my other thing. Uh, here's easy. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sisters not down the hall at the same time. I finished. You can on down the hallway. Oh wow. Oh, Oh, I'm sorry, Blue Wave. I'm sorry, not feeling well. Yeah, no, 10:38. Yeah, I said it early in the stream. I want the results for US 9 to be in, but I'm gonna get right around 11. I'm gonna end the stream there. I don't want to go on for like 5.5 hours again. But especially like the main two draws, the Senate race has been called already, so at least we have that one. It's not like Texas where we're still waiting for the Republican one, and I think the Democratic one got called, but by the time I ended it, but yeah, we're gonna probably do it around 11. But I'm sorry you're not feeling well. The head of the incumbents favored by majority. I did. I think it was. I thought I saw that on Twitter. I think it was Polymarket that had a move ahead, or it was like 50-50 or something, I think. And speak of the devil, with 84.57% of the vote in at 10:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Daniel Biss has officially been declared the winner of the Illinois U.S. House 9 Democratic primary, defeating Democrat Kat Abughazaleh and Laura Fine, as well as 12 other Democratic candidates as well: Mike Simmons, Phil Andrew, Bushra Amwala, Han Hun, several candidates running, but with over 84.57% of the vote now in, Daniel Biss officially declared the winner in this hotly contested Democratic primary race. This is a very interesting race in terms of the general election. This was to replace Democratic incumbent Jan Schakowsky, I believe her name is. In terms of the competitiveness of that race, it's really not too competitive. Find it right here. It was a 36.8% win in 2024 in this race. It was a very safe Democratic district, but the Democratic primary is where things were the most competitive. And it ultimately ended up being a very close race between Daniel Biss, Kat Abughazaleh, and Laura Fine, with Daniel Biss and Kat Abughazaleh emerging as the leaders, I would say, in the final few weeks of the campaign. It looked like for a while in this race, definitely that Daniel Biss was the clear leader. It was around a tied race right around January, but then Daniel Biss broke away and kind of always led throughout the race. It did narrow up a little bit towards election day, right around March 12th. Daniel Biss had 60.5% chance to win. Kat Abughazaleh had a 32% chance. But as soon as the first votes started coming in tonight, it heavily broke for Daniel Biss, up to 99.10% of the vote as more votes started coming in. And now, with 84.57% of the vote in, 29.61% for Daniel Biss, Kat Abughazaleh 25.61. In terms of how overall this happened, this district, which just composes 3 counties of Cook, Lake, and McHenry. At this current point in time, once you add the Chicago vote in to Cook, overall, this is a situation where Daniel Biss wins all 3 of the counties in this district. It's also worth noting we did finally, let me just zoom out this here and just fix this. We did finally get some votes out of McHenry up to 84. Or no, not McHenry, I'm sorry. Lake County still 40.6. We did still get some more votes out of Chicago up to 80.3. And the math just really isn't there for Kat Abughazaleh to come back. So all 3 of the counties in this district do go for Daniel Biss over Kat Abughazaleh and Laura Fine. There is still going to be some more vote to come in. And based on where it's out of, Chicago, which is 10.6% lead for Kat Abughazaleh, we're probably going to see maybe the margins narrow up a little bit and give Kat a little bit of a lead. But it looks like Daniel Biss has been declared the winner. He'll be advancing the general election and probably will be the next congressman from Illinois' 9th District. All right, let's check. Let's check the chat here. I think I missed a few in the last minute when I was doing this. I feel like El Cid's not the best candidate. I mean, the only thing I've seen is that the polls have shown Mike Rogers has the best chance of winning against El Sayed in the early polls thus far. But in early polls, you never really know. But that's just what it said so far. I think the reason Cornyn won first place in the first round of Paxton is Wesley Hunt, the third party effect. Definitely could be. Definitely could be. Cat wins with ranked choice voting 100%. Yeah, definitely could. That's what's so funny is like Biss wins, he gets 29.61%. If ranked choice voting was in effect, I mean, probably does. Laura Fine's 20.35% could be interesting because I don't know how those voters would break. I mean, there's a lot of third candidates getting 7.2, 6.27. Like, how did all these candidates break? A lot of them would probably go for Kat, but then Laura Fine's voters may go for Daniel Biss. So it'd be a very competitive ranked choice voting. It'd be very interesting to see how that would break out. Let's see. Anything from Central. Wait, Western. Doesn't like the sun at all. Oh no. Oh, sorry to hear that, Blue Wave. Trump's just approval varies between upper to mid 40s percentile range. That puts the bad position to hold the whole Senate. That's true. Yeah, it's true. Cool Blue. It does. And I know Trump's average right now is like anywhere from like 44 down to like 40. And some of the most recent polls, he's been polling like 37, 38. Like, if he stays around, if his average falls to like 40 or 41 by November, that would be a scenario where like Blue Wave was talking about Democrats winning Texas, Alaska, Ohio, putting Mississippi in play and stuff. Like, we may see like at very least Alaska, Ohio, and maybe Texas going blue in that scenario if that doesn't rebound by November. So yeah, I'm definitely losing my voice. But yeah, you're right. Making a good point. Yeah, the gerrymandering in Illinois, it's definitely weird. I remember I think it was one of my college classes we were going over, we were talking about gerrymandering, and they showed I think two examples. One of them was Illinois with how the maps are drawn, and then I think it was Maryland and how I think like Baltimore is split into like several districts, and it was like it's terrible to look at. But I mean, that's the reality. That's how it is. That's both parties do it, both to varying degrees, but like they both definitely do it. They both benefit from it. It's kind of it's how it is. Yep, North Carolina, Wisconsin, bad gerrymandering too. Yep. Is Wisconsin's gerrymandering case still going on? I know like it was going on at one point, then it ended, but I thought they were suing to bring it back up. Like I know Virginia's I think is signed into law or is about to be signed into law. I don't know if Wisconsin's is settled yet. And seats end up in 2026 Democratic hands. This is before pickups Republican telling you seats. Yeah, I think so too. I think the only ones in the Senate map I was looking at that could be competitive for the Democrats held were and Georgia and Michigan. But at this point, John Ossoff's running very strongly in Georgia, where at very least he's looking like a little bit stronger than Raphael Warnock in 2022, where he won like around 3 points. I think Ossoff does at the bare minimum, probably like a 3.5 to 4 point win. Michigan, I mean, it's possible, but Mike Rogers didn't win when Trump was at the top of the ticket in a Republican year to drive out turnout. I have a hard time believing that Rogers is going to win this time around. So the best pickup opportunities for the Republicans are Georgia and Michigan. New Hampshire, Chris Pappas versus John Sununu. I think that race could potentially be competitive, but again, I just don't think it's the right election environment. Sununu, even though he is more of like I would say moderate Republican, he's running on an environment that's just not pro Republican friendly. So it's going to be tough for him to beat a Democrat in New Hampshire in that type of election. Let's see, Stratton is officially declared the winner on New York Times. Notification from the phone. New York Times also reports Juliana Stratton has won the 2026 Democratic primary, the U.S. Senate from Illinois. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Definitely makes sense. New York Times called it too. 78.74% of the vote in. Yeah, it just there's still a good amount of votes left out. Still 22% of the vote in, or now 21% of the vote left in to go. But Stratton's leading by 6 points at this point. She's definitely doing well. She's outperforming the polls. So it makes sense that decision does called and that New York Times called it for her. There's Raja Krishnamoorthi is not going to catch her. It makes sense. Daniel Biss in the Kat Abughazaleh race. Daniel Biss just talking about almost 10 minutes ago, about 8 minutes ago now, was called the winner. And this one, that's really kind of it for the competitive races. Still the controller race between a 2 point margin between Croak and Villa, but with 79% of the weight of the vote in with 2% of the lead, that one's probably going to go on for a while. So we'll leave it on this one for now. Oh, I appreciate it, Blue Wave, but I appreciate it, man. I mean, do you want me to? I can wrap the stream up a few minutes early. I don't want your head to start hurting. You've certainly done a lot of chatting and watching throughout the night, so I appreciate that. But I don't want your head to hurt. So it's 10:48 p.m. For the next 12 minutes. I think I'll go through the Senate map and the House map kind of just one last time, give some quick thoughts and kind of the takeaways of tonight, and then I'll do that. Then I'll wrap the night up around 11. For the Senate one, I've already alluded to it, but Chicago, Juliana Stratton, core base support, she won 40.19, 28.82. The reason she won the Illinois Senate Democratic primary came out of Chicago. She won here by roughly about 70,000 votes. Her total margin statewide is right around a similar margin. Her impressive numbers in Chicago were a big reason why. It should be worth noting also, Stratton did very well, even though these areas are not as large in terms of population, but like she won in near Springfield in Sangamon County. She won there. She did well in Champaign in this area here, 46.19, 32.39. She won in these areas in the western part of Illinois as well. Smaller population, but are important wins as well. She also did very well in Will County, which is not as large as Cook County in terms of population, but right near it, won very strongly there. Also cutting some of these margins, Krishnamoorthi winning here by 6-7 points or so in these areas. Cutting into these margins was very significant for Stratton and her pathway to victory. Let's see. Will pass. Blueberry Muffins will pass me and take third place. The New York Times. Daniel Biss is one hit. Yep, so New York Times just called that. Thanks so much. I said 6-7, didn't I? It's so funny because like before the like trend broke out, I literally would say 6-7 so much. And now the 6-7 trend thing, I'm like, I have to like catch myself when I say it. Now I'm like, that's such like a big part of my vocab was saying that. But yeah, you look throughout the map and you just see Juliana Stratton did very well. Krishnamoorthi ran up some of the margins very well in these smaller bluer counties throughout the state of Illinois, and he did well in these areas. But in a big area like Chicago, where the population is just so prevalent, just wasn't able to catch the margins that Juliana Stratton put up there. For House 9, Daniel Biss, 84.92% of the vote in, 29.58%. Kat Abughazaleh, 25.67. Another 6-7. Oh my God. Oh my God. So around a 4 point lead in this one. And it's very simple. It's very simple in this race. The largest county in this race is Cook County. Well, Chicago, the city, and then Cook County really combined into one. This is the largest area of this district. Lake and McHenry counties, their votes are important, but they're just completely dwarfed by the size of Chicago and Cook County. Look at this. I mean, total registered voters, 275,000 in Cook, 173,000 in Chicago. And when you just look at the amount of margins here, Cook County, it goes for Biss after accounting for the Chicago votes by roughly about 4 points over Kat Abughazaleh. Again, it's roughly about a 4,000 vote lead. And look at the lead district wide, about 4,300 votes. So McHenry and Lake narrowly going another 5 votes. Look at this. Biss is only leading over Kat Abughazaleh by about 5 votes in McHenry County. So essentially a tie. And then in Lake County, though it is a 10% lead, it's only a margin of about 200 votes. It's all about Cook County and Chicago. It's where all the people are for this district. It's where a lot of the people are in this district. It makes a difference. And ultimately, Daniel Biss did very strong here, did better than Kat Abughazaleh here, got more people out to vote for him. And this is why this district and overall voted Daniel Biss to be the Democratic nominee and not Kat Abughazaleh, is because Biss got more votes out of Cook County. That's the long and short of it. Let's see. 6-7 points. 6-7. Why? Just done it 2-1. Give me six. Sounds like first place. Yeah, so this race is interesting. I think definitely out of tonight, I think the takeaway was how interesting competitive these races were. I don't know if they, to me, it kind of fell a little bit under the radar in the Senate one due to the fact that even though it was competitive, the Texas one with Jasmine Crockett and James Talarico took up a lot of attention, especially heading into March. So this one kind of flew under the radar, but ended up being a very competitive race. Illinois also not going to be as competitive at the general election level as obviously Texas will be. So the winner of this primary goes on to essentially win the general. So that could be a reason why it wasn't talked about as much, but ended up being a very competitive night between Stratton and Krishnamoorthi. Stratton ends up winning. House 9, it's one House district out of like 535, but played, or 435, excuse me, but played a very, very important role in terms of being a very competitive Democratic primary. I remember seeing a lot on YouTube and on Twitter and such about ads in this race, especially Kat Abughazaleh's ads kind of everywhere. So it was a very interesting race, very competitive one, certainly very interesting one to watch for. Ultimately, Daniel Biss does end up winning. And again, in terms of the general election for this one, this is about as safe as a Democratic seat you're going to find. This will be won by Daniel Biss in the general election. So as for now that the primaries for the Illinois House 9 and the Senate race are over, what that means for the general elections, the House race will continue to be safe Democrat. The Senate seat in Illinois, I have it as safe Democrat in my rankings. That does not change. The battle toss-up map for 2026 for the Senate still remains Republicans of 49, Democrats 45. With 6 seats currently listed as toss-up, I have them all 5 points or under at this current point in time, so I have them in the toss-up category. Alaska, Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Michigan, and Maine. This will ultimately decide the Senate. But for tonight, Illinois U.S. Senate goes for Juliana Stratton. House 9 goes for Daniel Biss. Okay, so you have any last questions or comments or anything in the super chat, you can leave them here. Not, that's pretty much all I really got for you tonight. The controller race is still going on, but it's only 79% in, and the 2-point race is going to go on for a while. So I'm going to probably stop it here in a few minutes. But yeah, if you have any comments or anything you want to leave, go ahead, and I'll let it play or I'll just respond and stuff for a few minutes. But that's probably just about it I have to say for election coverage related analysis. Let's see. Bellwether County for this nomination. The numbers are well reflecting overall results. Indeed. Blueberry, gotta go now. Thanks for the stream. Enjoy the rest of the night, y'all. You too. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate watching it. Maybe you should live stream the Georgia House special election runoff. Is that going on tonight too? Also, since the start of the stream, it's been about almost 3 hours now. We just officially crossed 500 views since the start of the stream. So thank you all for watching and helping to make that happen. I really appreciate you all watching and helping do that. Also, J.B. Pritzker got his 3rd term without competition in the primary. Yeah, I mean, Pritzker is interesting because, like, I think he's probably looking at maybe running in 28. He's certainly got, his family's got a ton of money. So any Democratic primary challenge, like, they're going to be outspent like 1,000,000 to 1. So there's really no shot in that. So not really too surprised, but yeah. Blue Wave, all right, I gotta go. I'm really sorry, but I feel bad. My eyes can't take the dark mode screen. No problem at all. Thank you for stopping, Blue Wave. I'm sure I'll see you on the next live stream. We'll see you in the comments. I appreciate you watching. Feel better, man. Hope everything goes well. Well, in a recent Texas GOP Senate poll, Paxton leads among Wesley Hunt voters. Not surprised. Not surprised. The final polls seem to suggest that the appetite for someone other than Cornyn certainly still there. So that doesn't surprise me, Brian. Greenwell said no, it's in April. Okay. All right, I'll look out for that one. I gotta also figure out what day that is. I haven't done any info on that one, but I'll certainly look into that one. Also, you gotta find out how it goes. Like some people who are watching but never chat. Hey, I appreciate everyone that watches, everyone that comments. All good with me. I find Ken Cornyn and John Paxton. Take care, Blue Wave. Have a good night. Which makes me think Paxton could still win the runoff. I honestly think the runoff in Texas is interesting because it depends if President Trump makes an endorsement or not. If he stays neutral and just let Cornyn and Paxton fight it out, I actually do think Paxton does win. But I'm assuming Trump endorses in that race, and I would bet he endorses Cornyn because that's probably the smarter play for the general. But I think early on, a few months ago, I thought Ken Paxton would have won it. And I think voter turnout could be a And I feel like lower voter turnout, I don't know who that would benefit more in that one. Probably Ken Paxton. I think Paxton's supporters are probably more motivated to get out and vote. But I agree. I think Paxton could definitely win that. Yeah. Let's see. Do we get any more votes here? 85.43. A few more votes have come in out of the 9th primary. A little bit out of Cook County up to 93.85. Cook's now up 9.2, so he went up in the margin by about 0.1. So nothing too different there. Greenville, one last comment is I think the Senate could be 51-49 for Dems, Ohio, North Carolina, Maine, and Alaska flip. I think honestly, it's funny. A few months ago, I would have said I don't think so, but now the way the polls have been looking, the way President Trump's approval rating sitting at, it's not impossible. Ohio, North Carolina, Maine, and Alaska flip. I think in terms of likelihood, I think North Carolina and Maine are the top two. Alaska and Ohio, it's funny. I both have them as lean Republican right now, but the Democrats are right there in terms of being able to flip those. So I definitely think there's a possibility that could happen. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Partly like they're good candidates, but also it's like a good election environment for them. Like I don't know truthfully how Plattner would do in a general election, but I think he'll certainly get a lot of Democrats out to vote. I'm not sure him or Janet Mills who emerges in Maine, but I think the Democrats in a strong position to capitalize off the blue environment and making damage there. I would add Texas as seat number 52 as well. It's possible. It is possible. I mean, like three of those I do still have for the Republicans favored right now, but it is certainly possible if everything breaks the Democrats' way that they could end up winning those seats. Okay, it is officially 11 p.m. Eastern time, so I did promise I would end the stream at this time. But thank you everybody for coming and watching. I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you hit like on the way out. Hope to see you guys all in the next stream or the next video I make. But this has been election night for the Illinois primary. Thank you all for stopping by.